Chapter 919. Instead of waiting for the right price, it was better to take the initiative to find the most suitable person for them. With Zi Ling's strength, Qin Shengyue's reputation, and Xiao Weilan's connections, they had a high chance of winning this bet. Ning Shi patted Gong Shangzi's shoulder. Shangzi, the baby was taken away. Does it hurt? After all, he and a dozen professional craftsmen had made these clothes meticulously. She remembered that it took 7 days and 7 nights just to sew the metal decorations on one of them. Gong Shangzi didn't look reluctant at all. I trust you, boss. Moreover, without her, they wouldn't exist at all. She was their master. With Xiao Weilan's help, Ning Shi felt much more relaxed. After lunch, she rushed to the set. In order to move easily, she was still dressed as a man. The crew had just finished eating and were taking a short break. Although it was only the second day, there was already a small group. Shen Hanchen, Qi Fang, and Ji Yuming were close. Ku Mingyu didn't have a professional background, didn't have a contract with any company, and was a loner, so he stayed in the corner alone. Occasionally, a few small characters would go up to talk to him, but when they didn't get a response, they stopped trying. Senior, you're here. Ji Yuming saw Ning Shi from afar. Halfway through her conversation with Qi Fang, she left him and ran over happily like a bird. Hey, it's only been 1 night and you're already thinking about her. Ji Yuming, wake up, this is a woman. But this person really had a unique aura, especially when she was with girls. It was so comfortable when they interacted with each other, as if they were being held in the palm of their hands. Seeing the little girl running over, Ning Shi immediately smiled. Well, have you eaten? Yes, I have. Director Shen is too much. The food on set is so good that I ate too much today. Ji Yuming clutched her stomach and complained. It's okay. You're not fat. Really? Millimeter, it's okay even if you're a little fat. You'll be cuter if you're fat. No way. Ji Yuming covered her face shyly, looking like she wanted to marry him. Not far away, Qi Fang squeezed the bottle of water in his hand until it was deformed. Damn. What's so good about that guy? She's just a sweet talker. You only know how to coax girls. Hypocrite. At this moment, a female player next to him interrupted. What's wrong with coaxing a girl? Isn't coaxing girls the most basic skill of a man? That's right. No. What's wrong? But she was clearly a girl. Was there anyone who snatched his job like that? The competition was fierce to begin with. Don't you think so, Hanchen? Qi Fang turned to look at Shen Hanchen. Shen Hanchen didn't say a word. He was engrossed in his script and didn't hear him at all. Qi Fang was speechless. How pitiful. It seemed like he had been abused badly yesterday. Suddenly being so serious made him feel a lot of pressure. Other than Shen Hanchen, there was also the second male lead, Ku Mingyu, whose abilities were unknown. She didn't know how good this kid's acting was when he kept silent. Shen Hanchen was abused so badly yesterday. This kid definitely wouldn't have it easy today, right? TSK, what scene are Ku Mingyu and Ning Shi filming today? Qi Fang mumbled as he flipped through the script. I got it. Scene 28. Damn. It's actually a kiss scene, although they didn't kiss in the end. Ha. Hanchen, someone's backing you up. Ku Mingyu and Ning Shi are filming a kiss scene today. How could she possibly kiss a man? Ku Mingyu is dead meat. Chapter 920. Although Ning Shi was essentially a woman, when she dressed up as a man, people would completely ignore this point. Therefore, for Ku Mingyu, the person he was going to kiss was a man. How could he act like this? Shen Mion was probably worried that Ku Mingyu wouldn't perform well, so she called him over and talked about the scene for a while. Alas, Ning Shi's acting was too good, which was also a problem. The others also heard that the scene was going to be very exciting, so they were all a little excited and looked forward to the scene. Several Fujoshis were so excited that they almost jumped up. Ji Yuming, on the other hand, was reading the script sullenly. Damn it, Ku Mingyu was going to kiss the senior today. Let go of the senior and let me do it. In this drama, except for Ning Xiaoming, the heroine's best friend, who knew from the beginning that the heroine was a woman, the second male lead, Lin Yu, was the first to find out. After Lin Yu found out that the heroine was a woman, he gradually developed a strange feeling for her, but he also knew that the person the heroine liked was his good brother, Sai Xia. Therefore, Lin Yu was a very contradictory and struggling character in the drama. There were a lot of eye contact scenes, and it was even more difficult to act than the heroine. When the crew was preparing for the shooting, there was suddenly a burst of screams in the crowd. Jiang! Jiang Mui! Who? Jiang Mui? Where? Where? He's over there. The one brought in by the director's assistant. Oh, it's really my Mui. My Mui is so handsome today. But why is he here today? He must be here to visit the set. It's said that he is very close to Brother Shi. Looking at the man who was not far away, surrounded by a group of girls, Ningxi was speechless. This guy really came. Not only that, today he was wearing a Neil Spring Summer Series embroidered satin flight jacket, black trousers, a metal necklace and a tail ring, and the obsidian earrings on his earlobes were shining with a faint cold light. He could walk directly on the red carpet. It's just a visit. Do you have to be so coquettish? Because of Jiang Mui's arrival, the crew was excited for a while. Some asked for autographs, and some took pictures. Shun Mion was kind enough to give the girls 10 minutes to chase their idols. Although they had seen too many big stars in this line of work, they still couldn't resist the temptation of beauty, not to mention Jiang Mui. Yumeng, aren't you going? To Ningxi's surprise, Ji Yumeng remained unmoved even though the crew and some actresses had surrounded her. Ji Yumeng looked at Ningxi and immediately showed her loyalty. Senior, I'm your diehard fan. No matter how handsome Jiang Mui is, I won't take a second look at him. Besides, he's not that handsome. He's far from you, senior. Just as Ji Yumeng finished speaking, a shadow suddenly fell on top of her head. In the next second, the man's slightly loud and slightly gloomy voice sounded above her head. Oh, Senior Jiang. Senior Jiang. Ji Yumeng stumbled back several steps. Little girl, what did you just say? Jiang Mui took off his sunglasses and asked quietly. His peach blossom eyes were like automatic generators. Jiang Mui was really a natural-born star. His whole body was shining, and his temperament was extremely aggressive. After all, Ji Yumeng was still young. When Jiang Mui suddenly approached her and released his aura, the little girl suddenly blushed. Chapter 921. On the one hand, she was rational enough to protect her chastity as a hardcore fan. On the other hand, the beauty in front of her was too powerful. Ouch. What should she do? She couldn't betray her senior. I'm not as handsome as him. Are you sure? Jiang Mui raised his peach blossom eyes and continued to ask. I. The girl was in a dilemma. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. Behind her, Ningxi's mouth twitched. She took a few steps forward and reached out to pull Ji Yumeng into her arms. She rubbed her hair comfortingly and then stood behind Jiang Mui to protect him. She stared at Jiang Mui and said, "Aren't you childish?" Ji Yumeng hid behind Ningxi and felt so happy that she almost fainted. Ouch, I'm protected by my senior. Humph. Jiang Mui snorted and sat down on the chair next to him, looking very unhappy. Who asked this little girl to shamelessly boast and actually dare to ignore his charm? This kind of principled problem was absolutely intolerable. Ningxi naturally knew his bad habit. She rolled her eyes at him and said, "You have so many fans. Don't you feel ashamed to fight with me over one?" Jiang Mui curled his lips. You can fight with a male actor over a female fan. Why should I feel ashamed? Ningxi snorted. Haha, do you dare to say that you have never fought with a female actor over a male fan? As soon as the two of them met, they unknowingly started quarreling with each other, and the onlookers watching from the side were in a frenzy. Oh, one is arrogant and the other is lazy and unruly. They are so pleasing to the eye. They are a perfect match. What a pity. Why isn't Jiang Mui the male lead of our movie? Yes. The feeling of these two together is so loving. The feeling of being attacked by a black-bellied beauty. In the corner, listening to the discussions around him, Shin Hanchen's fingers holding the script trembled slightly and his handsome face turned pale. Because he had been trained as the second Jiang Mui, Shin Hanchen had watched all the videos and TV series related to Jiang Mui countless times. He thought that even if he couldn't catch up with him by 10 points, he could at least catch up with him by 7 or 8 points. However, now that he had seen it with his own eyes, he realized how laughable his confidence was. His heart fell into an ice cellar. Qi Fang couldn't help but curse inwardly. Shin Hanchen and Jiang Mui. The gap between them was really too big. Ningxi naturally knew that Jiang Mui was always tied up by Shin Hanchen's agency to create hype. He had been dissatisfied for a long time. This time, he finally showed up. She stood up and patted him on the shoulder. "I'm going to work. You're almost done. Don't disturb our filming." "I know." "Right, what's your next scene? Is it with that kid?" Ningxi: "No, with the second male lead." Kiss scene. Jiang Mui's eyes had been on Shin Hanchen. Only now did he notice the supporting actor. In the middle of the set not far away, Shin Mion was talking to Ningxi about the scene. Aside from the two of them, there was a young man standing quietly next to them. He looked ordinary, had an ordinary temperament, and didn't seem to exist at all. When Ningxi and Ku Mingyu went to change, Jiang Mui immediately went up to Shin Mion. "Old Shin, are you blind? Why did you choose such a person to be the supporting actor? Get lost. You're the blind one. His acting is good." Shin Mion snapped. Chapter 922. Jiang Mui's face was full of disdain. "Is he better than me? You?" Shin Mion suddenly revealed a pained expression. "Don't you know that you're the #1 actor in the directing circle who the directors don't want to work with the most? Have some self-awareness, you bastard." "Fuck. Why? Why don't they want to work with me? I'm so popular." Jiang Mui was suddenly full of anger. "If it weren't for your popularity, who would want to work with you? I don't need to say much about how difficult it is to please you. The key is your acting skills. They are like a fucking roller coaster, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes up, and sometimes down. They are unpredictable and completely dependent on the mood. Which director can stand you?" Soon, the lighting and camera were ready. The shooting began. On the balcony covered with green plants, Ji Feishue was sleeping quietly in a round rattan hanging chair. The girl was wearing men's home clothes, with a book in her hand. Her soft black short hair was dancing in the warm halo under the sun, and under the camera, there was almost no pores on her delicate skin. She was like the best mutton fat jade. A breeze blew, and the pages of the book were turned, making a slight rustling sound. The world was stable, and the years were peaceful. When everyone saw this scene, they couldn't help but think of this sentence in their minds. Just then, with a squeak, the door of the balcony was pushed open, and a tall figure walked in. The moment Ku Mingyu appeared in the center of the scene, everyone present couldn't help but gasp, including Jiang Mui, who couldn't help but sit up slightly. At this moment, Ku Mingyu was wearing a gray checkered suit with a white shirt and a black tie. He was holding a pure white velvet blanket in his hand. His whole person was like the depths of a dense forest covered in pure white snow, exuding a cold and serene aura. Obviously, it was the same person, but the whole temperament of his whole person had undergone an earth-shaking change. A moment ago, he was even a somewhat gloomy and indifferent young man, but now he was like a jade, unparalleled in the world. This kind of breathtaking had nothing to do with his appearance, but his temperament. For an actor, temperament was something that couldn't be seen or touched, and it was the most difficult thing to control. Qi Fang even stood up in shock. "Fuck. How could this be? This guy is like a completely different person when he's on the screen. Is this really Ku Mingyu?" Shin Hanchen continued to stare at the camera, and Ji Yumeng also held her breath and couldn't help but murmur, "Is it my illusion? I feel like the way Ku Mingyu looks at you is not acting." Ku Mingyu's shooting continued. After Lin Yu walked to the balcony, he very gently covered Ji Feishue with the blanket in his hand. When he looked at Ji Feishue, his temperament instantly changed again. It was like a warm breeze in spring, melting the ice and snow, and his eyes seemed to have tens of thousands of flowers reviving. After covering Ji Feishue with the blanket, Lin Yu was about to get up and leave, but because he took one more look at Ji Feishue, he stopped in his tracks. His hands were on the armrests on both sides, and as if he was greatly bewitched, he uncontrollably approached Ji Feishue little by little. In that pair of eyes that were gradually sinking, love, reason, struggle, contained countless complex emotions, surging up and down, shaking the heart. As he approached Ji Feishue, almost everyone present was brought into the emotional world that belonged to Lin Yu, and there was silence. Chapter 923. Would Lin Yu continue to kiss her? After all, he had suppressed his feelings for Ji Feishue for so long. He was the first to know that Ji Feishue was a girl, and he had been helping her cover it up. He protected her behind her back as a friend, and watched her fall in love with Sai Xia. At this moment, Lin Yu was only a breath away from Ji Feishue, and he was about to kiss her in the next second. Fuck. Didn't the script say that he wouldn't kiss her? What does this guy want to do? Jiang Mui couldn't help but stand up. He felt that this guy had an aura that made him very uncomfortable. What was going on? Shen Mion glared at him and said in a low voice, "Lower your voice. Don't disturb my actor. Your good actor is using public equipment for private purposes." While Jiang Mui was arguing, Lin Yu suddenly closed his eyes slightly. In an instant, all the complicated emotions were isolated, and the ambiguous and tense atmosphere suddenly disappeared. Lin Yu closed his eyes and stood up. He tidied up the blanket that had been blown away by the wind, and then sat in the rattan chair opposite Ji Feishue. He picked up the book that Ji Feishue had scattered on the ground and quietly flipped through it, as if nothing had happened. There was not even the slightest ripple on his face. It was as if the staff had suddenly woken up from a charming dream and returned to the real world. At the same time, Ku Mingyu also showed one of the biggest characteristics of Lin Yu, which was that he was shrewd. After all, he could control his emotions so quickly. Just when everyone on the scene was shocked by Ku Mingyu's acting skills several times, Ning Shi, who had been pretending to be asleep with her eyes closed, didn't know anything at this moment. She just judged from the subtle breath that someone suddenly approached her and then left. Before leaving, she also heard a very light sigh in her ears. That sigh seemed to have magic power. It was still lingering in her ears, as if it was telling her the owner's depressed and deep emotions. Finally, after silently counting the time, Ning Shi decided that she could open her eyes. After a while, Ning Shi moved slightly. Her long eyelashes trembled a few times, and then she slowly opened her eyes. The moment Ning Shi opened her eyes, she saw a man sitting opposite her, holding a book in his hand, his head tilted. Hearing that she had woken up, the man raised his head slightly, and the thin layer of ice on his face instantly broke. He looked at her gently and lovingly. "You're awake." When she opened her eyes and saw this scene, Ning Shi's heart skipped a beat. Then, she stood there, dumbfounded. That's right, it was the first time in history. Ning Shi Ng. Ji Yuming looked surprised, Shen Hanchen looked pleased, and Qi Fang was dumbfounded. He thought it would be Ku Mingyu who Ng, so how did it turn out to be Ning Shi? The one who was the most shocked was Jiang Mui. Fuck, he actually got to see Ning Shi in his lifetime. Shen Mion was also stunned for a moment before she came to her senses. She hurriedly said, "Hey, Ning Shi, what's wrong with you? Did he really fall asleep just now?" Ning Shi suddenly came to her senses, got up from the rattan chair, and couldn't help but take another look at Ku Mingyu. In that instant, why did this person give her the feeling that he was a demon king? Chapter 924. Ning Shi pinched her eyebrows and apologized. "I'm sorry, director. I was distracted, it's okay. The first half was perfect. We can keep it all. Just reshoot from where you woke up," Shen Mion said happily. He had been worried that Ku Mingyu wouldn't be able to act well in emotional scenes because he was too reserved. He didn't expect that he could act so well. The look in his eyes was perfect. He had a feeling that when the movie was released, even if he was only the second male lead and didn't have a dazzling appearance like Shen Hanchen, he would definitely have a lot of fans just because of his deep love. "Okay." Ning Shi answered absent-mindedly and couldn't help but search for Ku Mingyu in the crowd. After the scene, Ku Mingyu disappeared into the crowd again. It took a long time to find him, Ningxi was looking thoughtfully at the man reading the script in the corner when Jiang Mui suddenly jumped over and pulled her over. Ning Xiaoxi, come here. What? Jiang Mui scratched his head and said mysteriously, Ning Xiaoxi, don't you think that guy acted very much like my uncle? Nonsense. Even you felt it. How could I not? Didn't you notice that I was good at ings? Ningxi said grumpily. In the corner, Qi Fang excitedly went up to Ku Mingyu and said, Hey, Ku Mingyu, you were so awesome. Even that arrogant fellow was shocked to the point of NG by you. Did you really learn all of your acting skills by yourself? Do you have any tricks? No. Qi Fang had been chattering away for a long time, but the other party only replied with 2 words. His expression immediately turned ugly, and he embarrassedly returned to his seat. Fuck. He's just a newbie with an ordinary name, ordinary looks, and ordinary temperament. So what if he's good at acting? The entertainment circle is so deep. Does he think it's easy? Ji Yumeng thought. I heard that Ku Mingyu doesn't even have an agency. I don't know who he is. Maybe he has a powerful background. If that was the case, he didn't need to deal with them because he didn't need to spend time on them. He's just a poor worker. At this moment, Shun Hanchen spoke up. Qi Fang immediately said, Hanchen, you asked around? See, I knew it. He doesn't look like he has a backer. After a short break, the filming resumed. On the balcony filled with sunlight, the man sat on a chair, holding a book in his hands. His slender fingers occasionally flipped through the pages, his body exuding a noble aura. The girl was nestled in the rattan chair across from him. At this moment, she was slowly opening her eyes. You're awake. The man looked up. His eyes were even more dazzling than the afternoon sun. When he looked at her, he was gentle and didn't have the slightest bit of aggression. He wrapped her up with warmth. Ningxi. Ningxi's lines. Not far away, Shun Mion anxiously waved her hands and feet to remind her. However, Ningxi was still staring blankly at Ku Mingyu. NG again. Shun Mion, what kind of situation was this? Why did he feel like there was something wrong with the way Ningxi looked at Ku Mingyu? Jane. It was as if she had fallen in love. After shouting cut, Shun Mion called Ningxi over to remind her, Ningxi, watch your eyes. The way you express it is wrong. In this scene, Ji Feishue completely treats Lin Yu as a friend and doesn't have any other feelings for him. You can't look like you're moved. Chapter 925. Jiang Mui's mouth twitched as he listened to Shun Mion's words. He was speechless at Ningxi's expression. In the corner, Qi Fang took out a bag of melon seeds and watched the show while munching on them. Ji Yumeng looked worried for Ningxi. At the same time, she didn't understand why Ningxi failed again in such a simple scene. This wasn't right. Hearing Shun Mion's reminder, Ningxi wiped her face and calmed herself down. Director, I got it. Let's do it again. I can do it this time. Okay, let's do it again. Shun Mion gestured for everyone to start again. Under the sunlight, Ningxi slowly opened her eyes. You're awake. The man looked up and asked. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Ningxi was stunned again, but fortunately, she reacted in time this time. Just as she was about to continue saying her lines, the man saw her staring at him in a daze. Suddenly, the corners of his lips curled up slightly, and his deep eyes rippled with a trace of a shallow smile. This was great. Because of this smile, Ningxi was completely stunned again. The third NG, Ningxi felt very tired. Shun Mion coughed lightly. Ningxi, are you not in a good mood today? I'll give you 10 minutes to rest. Then she gestured for the staff to rest too. She didn't want to disturb Ningxi and let her adjust her state of mind. Qi Fang sighed and shook his head. He said to Ji Yumeng, this is your senior idol. See. This is her real ability. It only took 1 day for her to return to her original state. Such a simple scene, but she failed 3 times in a row. She can't even memorize the most basic lines. I thought she was very capable, but it turns out she's just a pretentious prick. Senior is just not in a good mood today. Why are you gloating? You should worry about yourself. You still have a kissing scene with Shun Hanchen later, Ji Yumeng said unhappily. As soon as she said that, Qi Fang's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. Shun Hanshan's expression was obviously not good either. That's right, they did have a kissing scene today. At this moment, Ningxi was lying on the chair with a lifeless expression. Jiang Mui stood condescendingly on the side, his face full of disdain. You're just a little bit good at acting. Look at you. Is there a need to have such poor willpower? Ningxi was a little annoyed. What do you know? It's easy for you to say that. Is that even a little bit alike? I almost thought he was possessed by Lu Tingxiao. Did you notice that when he smiled at me just now? You're practically luring me to commit a crime. When did he smile? Are you hallucinating? Jiang Mui was speechless. Ningxi was tired and didn't want to talk. She was the only one who saw it from that angle. Is it really that similar? After all, Jiang Mui was just a bystander, so he couldn't know Ningxi's feelings. However, judging from Ningxi's reaction, he guessed that it was true. I'm not talking about his looks, it's just a feeling. Sigh, I can't describe it to you. Do you think that Ku Mingyu is Lu Tingxiao in disguise? Jiang Mui was speechless. Have you read too many wuxia novels? What kind of disguise could disguise someone to such an extent? Do you really think there's something like a human skin mask? Ningxi murmured. Who said there isn't? Jiang Mui thought for a while. There is, but even the special effects team in Hollywood, which has the highest level of disguise in the world, can't achieve such an effect. I took a closer look. If it's really a disguise, there's no flaw at all. Ningxi touched her chin. Tut, the Hollywood special effects team is nothing. The two chatted for a while, and Ningxi couldn't sit still anymore. She suddenly stood up. No. Where are you going? To find out what's going on, Ningxi said and walked straight in the direction of Ku Mingyu. Chapter 926. What's there to talk about? Is this guy crazy? Jiang Mui mumbled behind her. Ningxi walked straight to Ku Mingyu and stopped in front of him. Ku Mingyu sensed that someone was approaching. He looked up from the script and said, "Senior." Ningxi scratched her head with a hiss. How could it be? How could it be the devil? Yesterday, this guy came to ask for her autograph and said that he was her fan. Senior? Ku Mingyu called again when he saw Ningxi standing there without saying anything. Well, nothing. I just wanted to have a chat with you. You're a good actor. But I want to know why you chose to play the role of Lin Yu in this way. Ningxi said as she scanned the man's face with her X-ray eyes. It was a plain face without any special features. There was no trace of disguise and the facial expression was very natural. If it was really a disguise, there weren't many people in the world who could do it to this extent. Ningxi couldn't figure it out and had to give up. If she could, she really wanted to strip him naked and take a look at him. I thought about the script and felt that this was the most suitable way to play Lin Yu. Ku Mingyu's answer was normal. Ningxi looked at the other party's open and closed lips, looked at his eyes that had caused her to lose focus for a moment, and felt a strong attraction pulling at her. She was anxious to know whether he was Lu Tingxiao or not. Thus, unknowingly, she couldn't help but stretch out her hand towards the man's cheek. When Ningxi's fingers touched Lin Yu, a strong force pulled her all the way to the corner. Jiang Mui said angrily, "What the fuck? Ningxi, are you fucking crazy? This is the crew. The crew is the crew. Can't I act with him? Why are you so nervous?" Ningxi didn't care. "Is there anyone who acts like you? You're looking at him as if you want to strip him naked. Do you want to have a scandal before the movie is released?" Ningxi coughed lightly. "Are you exaggerating? What do you think?" Jiang Mui rolled his eyes at her. "Wake up, okay? What are you thinking about? I think you've gone crazy thinking about my uncle. Look at everyone, it's him." Ningxi rubbed her forehead. "I guess I'm really a little neurotic. Wake up, wake up. Senior, are you alright?" At this time, Ji Yumeng walked over with a look of concern. She lowered her voice and said, "Senior, are you on your period? Do you want me to buy you some brown sugar water?" Looking at the concerned little girl, Ningxi chuckled. "No, don't worry. Thank you. You're welcome. You can do it, Senior. I believe in you." Ji Yumeng cheered her on. Ningxi looked at Ji Yumeng, and a thought suddenly flashed through her mind. She remembered that the first scene yesterday was Ji Yumeng sitting on her lap. At that time, Ku Mingyu didn't seem to have any special reaction. However, at that time, Ku Mingyu did not have any presence, so she did not pay much attention to him. It was hard to say. 10 minutes passed quickly. The fourth take began. Ningxi, can I? Shen Mion asked worriedly. Ningxi made an okay gesture. No problem. Even if this guy was really Lu Tingxiao, she couldn't possibly take a NG for the fourth time. Chapter 927. You're awake. Yeah. Ningxi yawned and stretched lazily. Then, she pulled out the pillow from behind her and hugged it in her arms, staring blankly. Although Ji Feishue was dressed as a man, she had just woken up and was in front of Lin Yu, who knew her identity. She was defenseless, and the fierce and unruly aura she had deliberately maintained to maintain a man's image faded away. Her expression was soft, and there was even a tuft of hair on her head. She looked like a sleepy kitten and was exceptionally cute. In an instant, all the staff and actors at the scene were stunned by her cuteness. Oh, Sen. Senior is so cute. So cute. How can you be so cute? I didn't expect Senior to have such a side. Ji Yumeng took out her phone and excitedly took photos. As expected of Senior, you're amazing. The melon seeds in Qi Fang's hand fell to the ground. Seeing the girl hugging the pillow and curling up in the rattan chair, his cheeks inexplicably burned. Damn it. He actually thought this annoying guy was cute. Shen Hanchen was also stunned. From an extremely arrogant and somewhat annoying man to such an obedient and cute girl, this change was even greater than Ku Mingyu's transformation. Does it look good? Ji Feishue tilted her head and looked at the complete works of Shakespeare in the man's hands. Hide it well. The man looked at her and opened his mouth to say something that Ji Feishue didn't understand. Moreover, the man's tone seemed to be slightly depressed and unhappy. Ah, why? Ji Feishue looked puzzled. Her expression was clear and innocent. In front of Lin Yu, she completely revealed her true personality. The man didn't speak and only flipped to one of the pages and handed it to her. Ji Feishue looked down and saw that the page that Lin Yu had flipped to was filled with a person's name without her noticing. It was filled with Sai Xia. Sai Xia. Ji Feishue's cheeks instantly turned red and she snatched the book. You're so annoying. How can you just casually read other people's books? With that, she opened the door and ran out of the balcony with the book in her arms. Behind her, the man looked at the girl's retreating figure and felt helpless and amused. However, after everything had dissipated, there was only loneliness and an unfathomable undercurrent. Very good. You passed. Chen Mion breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Ningxi, you did well this time. It's exactly the feeling I want. It was even better than what he had expected. What he wanted to achieve was for the female lead's image to be deeply rooted in people's hearts, no matter if she was a man or a woman. Ningxi was so good at acting as a man that he was almost afraid that she wouldn't be good at acting as a woman. Sure enough, he worried too much. Little Ku's performance today was also very good. Keep it up. Shen Mion was also generous with her praise for Ku Mingyu. Out of appreciation for talent, he was even considering helping Ku Mingyu find a suitable management company. Otherwise, it would be a pity if such a good seedling took the wrong path. After the shooting, Ningxi couldn't help but want to get close to Ku Mingyu, but Jiang Mui stopped her. Stop. None of your business. I don't care about you. Just wait for Lin Jiji to kill you if you start a scandal. Sister Jiji isn't that cruel. Hehe, she's not cruel. How naive. If you want to die, I won't stop you. Chapter 928. Jiang Mui was a little aggrieved. He had to admit that he wasn't as good as Lu Tingxiao. But now, a newcomer who came out of nowhere could make Ningxi completely ignore him. He couldn't stand it. Seeing that Ningxi was still restless, Jiang Mui said helplessly, I'll help you find out more about this guy, okay? Okay. Ningxi nodded immediately. Ningxi looked through today's filming schedule and found that she only had one scene with Ku Mingyu. She couldn't help but feel a little regretful. Most of the plot was focused on the male and female leads. There weren't many scenes for the second male lead, but most of his scenes were with the female lead. The next scene was between Shun Hanchen and Qi Fang. It was also a kissing scene. Shun Hanchen found that his feelings for the female lead were getting weirder and weirder. At one point, he wondered if he liked men. In a panic, he found Qi Fang to test his feelings. This scene could be considered the biggest joke in the entire play. Most of Qi Fang's scenes were quite funny. If he played this role well, he would be very likable. Come here. Sai Xia put out the cigarette in his hand and suddenly called Jiang Xiaohai, who was sitting on the side playing games. What? Jiang Xiaohai didn't even raise his head. Sai Xia simply walked over and grabbed Jiang Xiaohai's chin. His face was getting closer and closer. When they were about to touch each other's lips, they turned around and pretended to vomit. All the staff on the set laughed. This scene was finally finished after more than a dozen takes. The two rushed over to rinse their mouths after they finished filming. After rinsing his mouth, Qi Fang leaned back in the chair helplessly. Retribution came too fast. I won't gloat anymore. Shun Hanchen wiped his mouth with a handkerchief, glanced at Qi Fang, and immediately turned his head away with obvious disdain. Fuck. Why are you so disdainful? You kissed me forcefully. I'm the biggest victim here, okay? Looking at the two, Ji Yumeng almost couldn't straighten her back with laughter. While they were laughing, the director's assistant suddenly came over with a girl. It seemed that someone had come to visit. Seeing the girl behind the director's assistant, Qi Fang was suddenly full of energy. Wow. A beauty. A beauty. And he's exactly the type I like. What a cold and aloof elder sister. Qi Fang was so excited that he was boiling. Shun Hanchen also straightened up, and his expression changed slightly. The eldest daughter of the Zhuang family, Zhuang Ku-er? How could she be here? He had seen him once when he attended a banquet with his father. Not to mention, just by looking at his aura, there was no way he was mistaken. Seeing Qi Fang, Shun Hanchen, and all the men present looking at the girl with drooling faces, Ji Yumeng puffed her cheeks and looked unhappy. What? How is it nice? Her face was cold as if someone owed her $8 million. Why do you men like this kind of woman? Ha ha ha. I think you're just jealous, right? Qi Fang teased. Who's jealous? Ji Yumeng was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She was the sweet type. Indeed, she was most envious of those cold and aloof beauties. Who is that beauty? If he's a celebrity, there's no way I wouldn't remember him, right? Qi Fang poked his head out and asked. Imperial Capital's #1 socialite, Zhuang Ku-er, Shun Hanchen replied. Chapter 929. Damn. No way. Qi Fang's eyes widened. How do you know? Do you know her? Looking at Qi Fang's admiring eyes, Shun Hanchen's vanity was greatly satisfied. I saw her once at a dinner party. Is she here to see you? Qi Fang suddenly asked. Shun Hanchen shook his head. We don't know each other. I don't think so. In fact, he also wanted to know the answer to this question. Was she here to see Jiang Mui? After all, Jiang Mui had the most fans in the circle of socialites. Is she here to see Jiang Mui? Ji Yumeng also asked. Qi Fang scratched his head. No way. Jiang Mui is not a member of our crew. He is only here to visit Ning Shi. How could Miss Zhuang come here to chase after him? That's strange. Since you said she is Zhuang Ku-er, and we are all newcomers, no one has the ability to invite this distinguished lady, right? Ji Yumeng was puzzled. Miss Zhuang, please come this way. Brother, she has already told me in advance that you will come, the assistant said while secretly looking at the beauty beside him. Thank you. Zhuang Ku-er nodded slightly, feeling a little strange about how the assistant addressed Ning Shi. Brother Shi? Was it because Ning Shi was a woman dressed as a man in this movie? Is Ning Shi dressed as a man today? Zhuang Ku-er asked hesitantly. The assistant nodded and looked a little excited. Yes. She dressed as a man these 2 days. Brother, she is so handsome in men's clothes. It's a pity that you didn't come yesterday. The scene yesterday was really wonderful. Really? Zhuang Ku-er felt a little regretful. At the thought of seeing the Prince Charming that she had been longing for a long time, her heart couldn't help but beat faster and faster. "Brother Shi, your friend is here to visit you," the assistant shouted to Ning Shi, who had just changed her clothes and was talking to the director. "Huh." Ning Shi subconsciously looked in the direction of the assistant. For the next scene, Ning Shi had changed into another set of clothes. She wore a black leather flight jacket inlaid with willow studs, washed jeans, and boots printed with exaggerated patterns. Her hair was messy and fluffy, and her bangs slightly covered her eyes. She was dressed very similar to the day she appeared in Lu Jingli's villa. The moment she saw Ning Shi, Zhuang Kuer's heart skipped a beat. It was as if she had traveled back in time to the day when she first saw her Prince Charming. Ning Shi greeted the director and went up to her. "Kuer, you're here. Why didn't you call me in advance? I could have picked you up." Zhuang Kuer stared at her blankly, her eyes slightly red, trembling with tears. Ning Shi panicked and hurriedly held her shoulders. "What's wrong? Is your brother naughty again?" Zhuang Kuer shook her head. No, what's that? I'm just happy." Zhuang Kuer lowered her eyes in embarrassment. "I thought I would never see you again." Ning Shi knew that the you she was talking about was Tang Shi. Ning Shi actually felt a little guilty about Zhuang Kuer. She had accidentally flirted with her, but she couldn't take responsibility. However, when they first met, she didn't expect that they would become such good friends in the future. Ning Shi gently held Zhuang Kuer in her arms and softly comforted her. "Silly, how could I? You can see me every day. I'll let you see me whenever you want." Zhuang Kuer nodded happily. "Okay." Not far away, Jiang Mui looked as if he had seen a ghost. Damn, Zhuang Kuer had gone on a blind date with his uncle before. Shouldn't she be Ning Shi's rival in love? What the hell was going on now? While he was in shock, he suddenly felt a chill on his back. Inexplicably, he felt a familiar chill around him. Chapter 930. This horrifying feeling was far too familiar. An idea flashed across Jiang Mui's mind, and he subconsciously turned his head to look in Ku Mingyu's direction. Then, he saw Ku Mingyu do something that shocked him to the core. The man raised his hand and pinched his eyebrows. That was a small action his uncle habitually made when he was suppressing his emotions. The same action would give different feelings to different people, but Ku Mingyu was exactly the same as Lu Tingxiao. And Ku Mingyu was not acting now. Damn it. Was Ku Mingyu really his uncle in disguise? How could Ning Xiao's intuition be so sharp? Jiang Mui's face was full of shock and doubt. He was about to tell Ning Shi what had happened. However, at this moment, Ning Shi seemed to have noticed his gaze. Her ordinary eyes suddenly became cold, and she locked her eyes on him in a frightening way. That was a warning. Jiang Mui's back suddenly stiffened, and he was frozen on the spot. His survival instinct made him immediately raise his hand to zip his mouth. Uncle, I didn't see anything. I won't say anything." Time passed. After a while, the man was sure that he wouldn't say anything, and the terrifying warning in his eyes receded like the tide. He closed his eyes and rested. Jiang Mui was so scared that his back was soaked with cold sweat. Damn it. It was true that with Ning Xiaosi, anything magical could happen. It was so exciting. At the same time, Ning Shi was happily chatting with Zhuang Kuer on the set, and the others were gossiping in the direction of Ning Shi and Zhuang Kuer. No one knew that Jiang Mui had just experienced a thrilling experience. Damn it. Miss Zhuang actually came to see that guy. Did you see that? She even said that you were a senior. He's more shameless than all of us put together. Okay. Infuriating. Why is Miss Zhuang so close to that guy? She must have been deceived by his glib tongue. She was obviously a noble and cold lady, but she was so soft in front of Ning Shi. It was simply unscientific. Ji Yuming stared at the two people, and then kicked Qi Fang. Shut up. Senior is a woman, okay? Qi Fang chuckled. Oh, you still know it's a woman? If she's a woman, why are you so angry and jealous? Shut up. Ji Yuming replied with another round of 9 yin bony claws. In the crew, Ning Shi was the most gentle to her and had the closest relationship with her. She had always felt that she was the most special. Now, a woman with a noble status suddenly appeared and was so intimate with Ningxi. How could she be happy? After Zhuang Kuo came, Ningxi immediately put aside other things for the time being and pulled her to a chair to sit down. I'm sorry, Xiaoxi. I was going to come earlier, but I had to look after my brother. Zhuang Kuo looked helpless. How is your brother? Ningxi asked. He fell asleep as soon as he came back last night and has been staying at home today. He doesn't seem to be in a good mood, but he is much calmer now, Zhuang Kuo replied. Because of the incident last time, Grandpa almost had a heart attack and her father lost control. Her mother was busy with work and was not at home all year round. Now she could only put aside everything and focus on her brother. She also told the servants to inform her first if there was anything, especially not to call Grandpa. Otherwise, if something happened again, the consequences would be unimaginable. She still had a lingering fear when she thought of the incident last time. Chapter 931. That's good. Ningxi nodded. But she also knew that Zhuang Rongguang wouldn't stay quiet for long. Obviously, this little bit of strength was far from enough to completely tame him. After being warned, Jiang Mui had been sitting quietly in the corner like a quail. Hearing this, he finally couldn't help but say, "Damn, Ning Xiaoxi, the woman you spent most of the day helping in the game last night is her? How on earth did you two get together? It's none of your business. Don't interrupt when women are talking." After chatting with Zhuang Kuo for a while, the next scene was about to begin. Ningxi asked Zhuang Kuo to sit in her seat, put a pillow behind her back, covered her with a blanket to keep out the cold, and asked Xiaodao to buy her a cup of hot cocoa. Then she went to work. A gust of cold wind blew. Jiang Mui, who was left alone, shivered in the wind and felt a chill in his heart. We are both here to visit each other. Why is there such a big difference in treatment? Why? You're such a heartless guy. Jiang Mui's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and snorted. Who asked you to be so fierce to me? Who asked you to be so fierce to me? I'll never tell you who Ku Mingyu is. You're dead. He secretly glanced at Ku Mingyu and saw that he had completely calmed down. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have thought that he had just been dreaming. Seeing Jiang Mui's angry face, Zhuang Kuo handed him a snack. Do you want one? No. Jiang Mui snorted and then looked at her. How on earth did you two meet? Zhuang Kuo recalled sweetly. I met him at a party held by Lu Jingli. At that time, Xiaoxi was dressed as a man. At that time, there was an accident. Fortunately, he helped me out. Then we met again at my home. Zhuang Kuo intermittently told the story of how she met Ningxi. After hearing it, Jiang Mui felt that his worldview had been subverted. She had turned his rival in love into his uncle's rival in love. Ningxi was simply inhuman. Suddenly, he felt a little sympathy for his uncle. I can't talk to you anymore. I'm going to watch Xiaoxi shoot. Seeing that the shooting had begun, Zhuang Kuo immediately sat up and stared at the scene with the expression of a fangirl. Before the shooting began, Ningxi suddenly walked to Jiang Mui and said in a low voice, "Help me pay attention to that guy's reaction." Jiang Mui naturally knew that she was talking about Ku Mingyu. He asked guiltily, "What you're going to do next?" Ningxi, "Oh, sofa," Jiang Mui asked. "Wait. What the hell is sofa thump?" Ningxi, Shenhanchen Shi. This was a scene between Ningxi and Shenhanchen. The male lead in the drama, Sai Xia, was excellent in all aspects, but there was one thing that he lacked. He would be at a loss when it came to girls. Both his IQ and EQ were off the charts. The male lead had a girl he had been secretly in love with for a long time, but because of this problem of his, he did not know how to pursue her. In the living room, Sai Xia, who usually had a meticulous image, looked haggard. His hair was messy, and he had 2 dark circles under his eyes. He slumped on the sofa, looking as if he had nothing to live for. Gigi Feishue came in. She was dressed very well. She took out 2 cans of beer from the fridge and threw one to Sai Xia. My dear Master Shen, I'm just chasing a girl. Why are you so embarrassed? Ji Feishue said as she took out 2 cans of beer from the fridge and threw one to Sai Xia. Chapter 932. Sai Xia raised his head and took a sip, looking extremely distressed. I really don't know what to do. Ji Feishuo was drinking by the side. When she looked down at the bottle of beer, a trace of bitterness quickly appeared in her eyes. At this moment, the young man was radiant and high-spirited, but he made people feel extremely lonely. Ji Feishuo quickly concealed all the emotions in her eyes, put down the beer, and sat down next to Sai Xia. Is it so difficult? Come here, I'll teach you. Now, I'm you, and you're the girl. Sai Xia immediately felt as if he had seen a life-saving straw. Okay, then what should I do? You don't have to do anything. Ji Feishuo said, suddenly putting one hand on the back of the sofa behind Sai Xia. This position made the two of them very close in an instant. Sai Xia frowned in puzzlement, not knowing what she wanted to do. At this moment, the next second, Ji Feishuo's eyes suddenly focused on the man in front of her. I like you. Can we go out together? At the moment when she spoke, her expression and eyes completely changed. It was the look of someone who had been thinking about day and night, but couldn't get her love. It was oppressive, hot, and passionate as if it could destroy everything, and gentle as if it could warm and contain everything. Instead of saying that she was teaching Sai Xia how to confess to a girl, it was more like she was confessing to Sai Xia, you. Facing such a pair of stunning and passionate eyes, Shun Hanchen was suddenly stunned. Fortunately, his reaction was just like Sai Xia's in the movie. Sai Xia was also stunned by Ji Feishuo's eyes. Seeing this, the staff on the set were all sighing, especially the young girls. Oh, my Adonis, I really wish I was Sai Xia. Her eyes are making my legs go soft. Sai Xia must be out of his mind. How can he not see that Ji Feishuo likes him? Jiang Mui was so absorbed in watching that he came back to his senses after hearing the girls chatter around him. He hurriedly glanced at Ku Mingyu in the corner. Good. When Ningxi was filming, a certain someone seemed to be calm, at least on the surface. Good. Cut. Very good. Shun Mion yelled in satisfaction. Shun Hanchen heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that Ningxi would make things difficult for him again today, but he didn't expect it to be so smooth. It was so smooth that he almost couldn't believe it. He was completely brought into the play by her and unknowingly finished the play. After that, Ningxi immediately pulled Jiang Mui to a corner. What do you think? Did Ku Mingyu have any special reactions? Jiang Mui weighed his brotherhood and his own life for a moment before he answered decisively, no, everything is normal. Moreover, Brother Ming also called me just now. He said that he's just an ordinary self-taught salaryman. Can you stop daydreaming all day long? Ningxi touched her chin. Sure enough, I've been too busy recently to date Mr. Boss, so I miss him too much. Jiang Mui, please, can you give me a warning before you show off your affection next time? It was forcefully stuffed into his mouth. At this time, Zhuangkua hurried over after receiving a call. Xiaoxi, you did a good job. I really want to watch you for a while more. Unfortunately, I have to go now. My family just called and said that my brother ran out again. Why is this guy so troublesome? Ningxi frowned and said worriedly, be careful on the road. Call me if you need any help. Okay, I will. Ah, wait. By the way, I have something for you. Chapter 933. Ningxi said and took out the advanced custom-made dress from the studio. This is the new product of my studio for the next season. It's not on the market yet. I saved one for you. If you don't mind, you can wear it at home. Wow. It's beautiful. Zhuangkua took out the dress and looked at it. Her eyes were full of surprise. Why would I mind? It's so beautiful. But I don't have anything for you. What should I do? I wanted to give you a dress last time, but I didn't get it. Jiang Mui looked at this scene and didn't know what to say. Even a man was not as good at coaxing girls as she was. She just came to visit him, but she prepared a gift for him. Why didn't he have one? All right. Luckily, he didn't. Luckily, Ning Xiaoxi had always been so cruel to him. Otherwise, hey, Ning Xiaoxi, I'm leaving. Don't make trouble, don't smoke, don't drink, don't fight, and most importantly, don't hook up with girls. Be quiet, okay? Jiang Mui said earnestly. He had really done his best. It was not that he didn't want to tell her, but he had been feeling uneasy since the beginning. He didn't need to think about it to know what would happen if he let it slip. Golden hair, what's wrong with you? Ningxi was speechless. She always felt that Jiang Mui was strange. It's nothing. Anyway, remember what I said. I'm really leaving. Bye. Tilda. The gaze behind him was getting more and more terrifying. After saying goodbye to Ningxi, Jiang Mui almost crawled out of the crew. He finally got out of someone's sight and walked to the parking lot. However, just when he was relieved, he saw a man standing in front of his car, Ku Mingyu. Uncle. Jiang Mui's face turned pale. He was so scared that he almost wet his pants. He hurriedly called out. He subconsciously looked around. Looking at the dim and empty underground parking lot, he inexplicably had a déjà vu that he was about to be killed. At this moment, the man was quietly leaning against the hood, his slender fingers holding a cigarette, the butt of the cigarette emitting a dark red glow. His expression was hidden in the shadows, and it was hard to see him clearly. He did not say a word, but it made people even more anxious. Cough. Uncle. I didn't expect it to be you. I swear, I will definitely keep it a secret. I will definitely not tell Ningxi. You saw it just now. I didn't say anything. Of course, I won't say anything when I go back. Jiang Mui swore for a long time, but the man still didn't respond. Ku Mingyu's aura was so terrifying that Jiang Mui's forehead was covered with cold sweat. He couldn't stand it anymore. Gritting his teeth, he continued, I'll cover for you if necessary. You're right. As soon as he finished speaking, the pressure that was gripping his neck suddenly disappeared. The man looked down and extinguished the cigarette between his fingers. His deep and husky voice instantly returned to the voice that Jiang Mui was familiar with. Good boy. With that, he turned around and left. That word made Jiang Mui's hair stand on end. Damn it, if he had said one wrong word just now, would he really have been killed to keep his mouth shut? Even if he was not his nephew, he didn't have to be so cruel, right? Did he have to scare him like that? Fortunately, even if his heart was full of questions, he still refrained from asking blindly. Chapter 934. After work, Ningxi planned to go to the studio first, but after thinking for a while, she decided to go to the Platinum Palace first. The filming schedule would get tighter and tighter, and she would have less time to accompany the devil and Xiao Bao. When she passed by the flower shop, she bought a big bouquet of red roses. In the living room, Lu Tingxiao was wearing a set of home clothes and reading the newspaper. His perfect, chiseled silhouette, slender legs, and thin waist made him look like a delightful oil painting. Ningxi stood there and watched him for a long time. When Lu Tingxiao sensed the gaze on him, he raised his head and saw the girl holding a large bouquet of red roses in her arms, staring at him in a daze. Ningxi suddenly came to her senses when she met the man's eyes. She skipped over happily and stuffed the flowers into his arms. Boss, this is for you. Lu Tingxiao was startled and his cold face softened. Thank you. The man took the bouquet and sniffed the dewy petals. His cold face didn't lose any brilliance in the roses, but became even more dazzling. He was as beautiful as a picture in a high-definition movie. Ningxi held her face in her hands and was fascinated by it. She murmured, Hey, really? Are you a demon? I feel like I'm head over heels in love with you. What? The man raised his eyebrows. Ningxi's heart skipped a beat when she saw his slightly raised eyebrows. She murmured, How dare you ask? I can't even concentrate when I'm filming. Today, I felt that an actor in our crew looked like you. I was possessed and poisoned. In the past, when she was filming, she would never be distracted by anything. The man gently stroked the rose petals and smiled. His low, husky voice rang in her ears. Do you want to try fighting poison with poison? Damn it. He was seducing her again. Ningxi howled and threw herself at him. The petals in their arms fell to the ground. Lu Tingxiao let out a muffled chuckle from his chest. He hugged her tightly and sighed. I'm just afraid that you'll develop antibodies to this poison one day. Ningxi somehow sensed the man's uneasiness and immediately retorted, "No way. This is a poison without an antidote, okay? And it was exclusive. Once you're poisoned, you won't be poisoned by other poisons. You." Lu Tingxiao stroked her head and said seriously, "I've read your script. There are quite a lot of dangerous scenes. You have to be careful and don't overexert yourself, okay?" Ien, got it. Ningxi nodded. Although there weren't as many dangerous and exciting scenes in this movie as the one that Liang Biqin had stolen, there were still quite a few. There were a lot of fighting scenes in it, and there was even a scene where the character fell off a cliff. But as long as the safety measures were in place, there wouldn't be any problems. At night, in the study room, Lu Tingxiao received a call from Cheng Feng. "Hey. Boss. I have something to ask you, speak. As far as I know, Miss Ningxi's new movie seems to have started shooting. You arranged for Xiongji to enter the crew to protect Miss Ningxi. What do you mean now?" Cheng Feng asked tentatively. These days, Xiongji and Shixiao didn't dare to ask the boss, so they kept pestering him. He had no choice but to ask the boss for them. Chapter 935. Boss, do you need me to arrange for Xiongji to join the crew? Or Shixiao? Cheng Feng asked carefully. No need. Cheng Feng probed for a long time, trembling with fear. In the end, the big boss only said these two words and hung up the phone. Was it because there weren't many dangerous scenes in this movie? That's not right. With the boss's personality, even if there was only one dangerous scene, he wouldn't let his guard down. Assistant Cheng, how is it? What did the boss say? Is it me or Xiongji? Seeing that Cheng Feng had finished the call, Xiongji and Shixiao, who had been waiting for a long time, hurriedly went over to ask. Cheng Feng glanced at the two of them. There's no need to go. The boss doesn't have any intention of letting you go. Hearing this, Xiongji and Shixiao looked at each other and their expressions changed. Assistant Cheng, are you sure? Why? Cheng Feng was speechless. You too. Shixiao, when you were appointed by the boss, you rejected it. Xiongji, not only did you leave your post, you even led Miss Ningxi into danger. Do you think that with the boss's personality, he would use you two a second time? You two should just give up, don't think about it anymore. The boss has probably already sent someone else to protect her. How could that be? I specifically asked around. No brothers were sent over at all. Shixiao said excitedly. Could it be someone from the Black Ops? Have we been completely abandoned by the boss? Xiongji was a big guy with a face full of disappointment. Cheng Feng shook his head. I've already shown you the way, but you didn't take it. Who can you blame now? However, don't worry, it's not that serious. The boss just didn't give you too important a mission. This is not serious. Shixiao roared with red eyes. At this moment, he really regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. He was once the boss's most valued subordinate, even the task of protecting the lady boss was given to him, but it was ruined by his own arrogance. Pearl River Imperial View. After returning home, Ningxi was about to sleep when her phone suddenly rang. She casually picked up her phone and glanced at it. The next second, her expression suddenly changed. The sender was Tang Yi. After Dib came back, there was no more news from him, so she almost forgot about those things. What did the eldest senior brother mean by sending her a message at this time? Ningxi's intuition told her that something bad was about to happen. The last time he sent her a message, it was about an S-rank mission to propose, and it almost scared her to death. However, this kind of thing could not be solved by running away. Ningxi struggled for a long time with a solemn expression. Finally, she opened the message. There were only a few words on the phone. Bar number 8, see you in half an hour. There was only one location, and it was ridiculously simple. It was still Tang Yi's usual style, leaving no room for rejection. Eldest senior brother wanted to meet her at a bar in the middle of the night. Ningxi stood up and paced back and forth in the room. After a while, she sent a message back. What's up? Arrive quickly. Tang Yi only replied with 2 words. Fuck. Couldn't he tell her what it was so that she could be mentally prepared and not be scared half to death like last time? Ningxi angrily sent another message. Tell me what it is first. In the end, The phone's interface displayed, "Your message was not successfully sent." Fuck. She had almost forgotten that Tang Yi had only given her one restriction, which meant that she could only send him one message a day. Fuck, this is so infuriating. She scratched her head in frustration, quickly packed up and prepared to leave. Before leaving, she went back and took the gun that Lu Tingxiao had given her. Chapter 936. Eldest senior brother actually returned to the country again. What on earth would happen this time? She felt uneasy. Thousands of guesses came to her mind along the way, each of which was bloody and cruel. She arrived at the bar half an hour later, just in time. She hadn't had time to change her clothes when she received the message. She was still in men's clothes, wearing black motorcycle gloves and black leather boots. She stepped into the bar with the green lights. This bar was one of the busiest bars in the capital. At this moment, it was also the busiest time. In the center of the stage, a sexy dancer was doing a pole dance. The whole bar was filled with deafening music and the cheers of the crowd. This meeting place was obviously not in line with eldest senior brother's personality. It really surprised her. But second senior brother would definitely like it. She shuttled through the crowd and was flirted with by several girls along the way. Finally, she found a familiar figure in a corner a little far from the stage. The man was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses as usual. He looked gentle and elegant, which was out of place in the noisy bar. Of course, this was just a facade. She stood 3 steps away from Tang Yi and didn't dare to approach him. She was afraid that it might be a trap. "Come here." Seeing she standing there foolishly for a long time, a trace of impatience flashed through the man's eyes behind the glasses. She sat down with a swish. However, there was a person's distance between them. Her back was very tense. "Eldest senior brother, why did you call me here this time?" With a swish, Tang Yi suddenly took out a large bouquet of flowers from behind. Ningxi's legs turned to jelly and she almost knelt down on the spot. "No way." Again. Tang Yi didn't speak. He just looked at her with a murderous look. Was she helping someone to send flowers or was she being paid to kill someone? She could only accept it with trembling hands. But in her heart, she cursed bitterly. Haha, no wonder the whole organization was full of single men. A nest of lunatics. Without her to raise their EQ, they would probably all be single until the end of time. Fortunately, this time Tang Yi didn't kneel down on one knee again. And this time, the guy gave her a large bouquet of black roses. The flower language of black roses. "You are the devil, and belong to me." Black flowers. Looking at this bouquet of flowers, Ningxi's heart inexplicably flashed a strange emotion. At this moment, Tang Yi suddenly said, "Make the call." "Ha! Who are you calling?" Ningxi was surprised. "Tang Yi, Tang Lang." "Ningxi, second senior brother?" "Tang Yi, call him over." As soon as he finished speaking, Ningxi was dumbfounded. Fuck. This was the main purpose of eldest senior brother. No wonder they arranged to meet here. He actually used her to lure second senior brother here. Last time, second senior brother used such a despicable method to defeat him. If he called second senior brother over now, then second senior brother's fate would be, eldest senior brother, have you misunderstood something? How could I contact second senior brother? To tell you the truth, after our last meeting, I haven't been in contact with him. Ningxi replied with a sincere expression. Tang Yi nonchalantly adjusted his cuffs. "If he doesn't come, you'll fight with me." Hey. Second senior brother, come and have a drink at bar 8. Yes, the 8th bar. Come quickly. Waiting for you. There are so many beautiful girls here. Hurry. It's okay if you don't have money, I'll treat you. Chapter 937. Ningxi hung up the phone as fast as she could and then looked at Tang Yi sincerely. "Eldest senior brother, is this okay?" Tang Yi picked up the red wine on the table and took a sip. Scarlet blood stained his thin lips and his eyes behind the white lenses were filled with a bloodthirsty aura like that of a beast. "Second senior brother. I'm sorry, Eldest senior brother was really too fucking scary. She didn't know why eldest senior brother returned to the country this time, but catching second senior brother was definitely more important than the S-level mission. After all, second senior brother's trick last time was really too despicable. At this moment, Ningxi didn't dare to talk to Tang Yi at all because she didn't need to look to know that Tang Yi was in an extremely dangerous state. Ningxi raised her head and gulped down a large glass of beer on the table. From the corner of her eye, she saw that Tang Yi didn't seem to notice her. Her remaining conscience made her secretly take out her phone, wondering if she should send Tang Lang a danger signal. In the end, the moment she moved her finger, Tang Yi seemed to have eyes all around her, shooting daggers at her. Ningxi's heart trembled and she hurriedly smiled flatteringly. I'll text second senior brother and tell him which booth we're at, in case he can't find us. Tang Yi stretched out his hand and gestured for her to pass the phone to him. Ningxi immediately handed the phone over as if she was offering a gift. Then she saw that Tang Yi was holding her phone and sending a message to Tang Lang. What was eldest senior brother sending? Ningxi curiously leaned over and took a glance. Then she saw Tang Yi's pale, almost bloodless fingers as he unhurriedly typed a line of words. Table 13, Block C, second senior brother. Hurry up, I'm waiting for you to have some fun tilde. After sending the message, he threw the phone back to Ningxi expressionlessly. Ningxi, seeing eldest senior brother imitating her tone and sending the message, she had goosebumps all over. How much did he want to torture second senior brother? As time went by, Ningxi felt as if she was sitting on pins and needles, and every day felt like a year. That. Since eldest senior brother wants to deal with the private affairs between you and second senior brother, can I go now? I promise I won't tell anyone. You know that I don't have the guts. No. Tang Yi said without any hesitation. Why? What's the use of me staying here? Ningxi said with a sad face. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Tang Yi used his cold face that was like a humanoid weapon and said these words lightly. Ningxi was stunned and almost burst into tears. There was no need to ask. Second senior brother was the chicken, and she was the monkey. Just as Ningxi was in despair, her phone lit up. It was Tang Lang calling. Hey, junior sister, where's table 13 in Block C? Tang Lang's cheerful voice came from the other end of the phone. You've arrived. How can it be so fast? Ningxi asked in surprise and looked towards the door. Didn't you say that there are a lot of beautiful girls? Of course it will be soon. Tang Lang replied happily. At this time, Ningxi had already seen Tang Lang, who was walking in from the door. This guy had obviously specially dressed up. He was dressed in a black, form-fitting leather jacket with the lapels unbuttoned, revealing a large area of honey-colored skin. The skull-tail ring on his finger was glowing with a dark silver light. His naturally curled hair was pulled to the back of his head, revealing his smooth and full forehead. The corners of his mouth were slightly curved, and his entire body exuded the word Lang. Chapter 938. Ningxi held the phone in one hand and made a Jesus prayer gesture with the other. We're 45 degrees clockwise from you. Oh. I see you. But why don't I see any girls? Where are the girls? Little junior sister, are your eyes cramping? Why do they keep cramping? Tang Lang was so focused on having fun that he didn't notice Ningxi's gaze. He asked as he walked towards Ningxi. The corner where Ningxi was sitting was very dark. From his angle, he could only see Ningxi sitting alone on the sofa. There was no girl on her left, and no one on her right. Fuck. Little junior sister, what's that on your right? When he saw the elegant man wearing gold-rimmed glasses sitting quietly on the sofa with a glass of red wine in his hand, Tang Lang was so shocked that he almost threw the phone in his hand. Ningxi said in a tone that was worse than death, as you can see, the one on my right is eldest senior brother. Tangxi, I'll fuck you. Where's the girl we agreed on? How dare you sell me out? You're fucking dead. Tang Lang cursed as he turned to run. But, how could he run away? Just as he turned around, he felt something tighten around his waist. A soft silver whip wrapped around his waist like a snake. With a bit of force, his body directly rolled behind him, and with a bang, he collided with a cold and gloomy body. Tang Lang struggled against the whip around his waist, but it didn't budge at all. He turned his head, swallowed his saliva, and laughed dryly. Hi tilde baby tilde long time no see tilde I didn't expect you to be so enthusiastic the moment we meet tilde I'm so embarrassed tilde Ning she covered her face with her hands. He's about to die and he still dares to play around. Tang Yi's fingers that were holding the man's wrist suddenly tightened. His voice was faint and cold. There's someone even more enthusiastic. Do you want to try? Tang Lang felt a pain in his wrist as if his bones were about to break. Ghost Wailing Waves said, baby, be gentle, be gentle. If you break me, who's going to fight with you in the future? Who's going to fight with you? You're the wind and I'm the sand, entangled until the end of the world tilde shut up. Tang Yi strangled him and left the bar. The two of them, one in front and the other behind, looked like two brothers who had a good relationship with each other. Ning she wanted to slip away, but the two people in front of her spoke at the same time. Tang Yi, did you forget what I said? Tang Lang, bastard, you dare to leave me alone? I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Ning she wiped her tears and followed him obediently. She muttered with a bitter face, what can I do even if I don't go? It's just the difference between watching you die and watching you die. You knew that I would die, yet you still sold me out? Tang Lang roared. Ning she was also angry. You know how scary eldest senior brother is. If you were me, would you dare say you wouldn't sell me out? Tang Lang immediately shouted, of course I'm selling. Do you think I'm stupid? Ning she. A moment later, Tang Yi brought the man to a secluded alley. There was no path ahead, only high walls on both sides. Tang Yi stood at the only exit with the pale moonlight behind him. It was indeed a good place to kill someone in the middle of the night. After being released, Tang Lang hurriedly rubbed his wrist. Damn it, Tang Yi, didn't I only win against you once? What do you want? Ning she's mouth twitched. He actually dared to mention the word win. He was simply courting death. Sure enough, Tang Yi's expression instantly twisted. His slender fingers slowly covered the frame of his glasses. Choose a way to die. Tang Lang swallowed his saliva. I can choose desire. Immortal. Desire. Death. Chapter 939. I think you won't give up until you see the coffin. Tang Yi slowly took off the gold-rimmed glasses on his face. Tang Lang was shocked when he saw this. Hey, don't take off the glasses just because of a disagreement, okay? Let's talk about it. But it was obviously too late. Without the isolation of the glasses, Tang Yi's murderous eyes were immediately revealed. It was as if there was a beast sealed in his body that only knew how to fight and slaughter, and it instantly broke through the cage. Tang Yi's fingers went into his hair and rubbed it. At the same time, he raised his left hand and with a swish sound, the gold-rimmed glasses fell in a parabola in Ning Shi's direction. Seeing this, Ning Shi hurriedly went up and carefully caught the glasses. She clenched her fist and cheered, eldest senior brother, you can do it tilde Tang Lang. Bastard, if I am still alive later, I will beat you to death first. Ning Shi waved her little hand. Live first, second senior brother tilde. As soon as her voice fell, Tang Lang had already attacked like a hungry beast. Every move he made was ferocious and powerful, and he had completely entered the state of a crazy demon. Ning Shi held the glasses and the bunch of black flowers, squatting at the entrance of the alley far away. Second senior brother, you are finished. Eldest senior brother's strength has advanced again. Shut up. Do you think I am easy to mess with? Today, I will prove that I am the head of the family. Oh. How dare you be distracted when fighting with me? Tang Yi and Tang Lang fought until the heavens and the earth darkened. Ning Shi could see that both of them had already brought out strength that seemed to have broken through the limits of their bodies. In the end, not to mention talking to Ning Shi, the two of them had even completely forgotten everything in the outside world. After 200 moves, Tang Yi's 5 fingers grabbed Tang Lang's lifeline like an eagle's claw. Why? Tang Lang's expression flickered slightly, and then he smiled carelessly. He twisted his body and dodged Tang Yi's killer move. Then, he took the initiative to attack fiercely. It is also very dangerous to be distracted by me. Ningxi silently looked at the two of them, looking at the painful look in eldest senior brother's eyes. Why? She knew that eldest senior brother was asking why second senior brother betrayed him. She had joined halfway and left, but why did second senior brother join? Second senior brother had always regarded the organization as his home, eldest senior brother as his elder brother, and master as his father. What made him betray all this without hesitation? Tang Lang. I'll ask you one more time. Why? Tang Yi's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets, and his expression was that of madness. During this period of time, it was unknown what kind of devilish training Tang Yi had given himself. His strength had actually risen to such a level, and Tang Lang was already gradually unable to hold on. Most importantly, she clearly felt that Tang Lang didn't seem to want to fight with her eldest senior brother anymore. However, once the eldest senior brother started to fight, he would definitely not stop because he himself was unable to control himself. If Tang Lang were to continue like this, he would really die or be crippled. Seeing that Tang Yi's grip on Tang Lang's neck was getting tighter and tighter, Ningxi gritted her teeth, put down the things in her hands, and instantly inserted herself between the two of them, striking Tang Yi's arm with all her strength. The two of them separated. Tang Lang covered his neck and coughed violently. Tang Yi glared at Ningxi with bloodshot eyes. Get out of the way. Ningxi said anxiously, eldest senior brother, calm down. If there is anything, can't we sit down and talk about it properly? Tang Yi bent down and picked up the glasses on the ground. He raised his gloomy eyes and said, Tang Lang, including you, Tang Shi, I will give you one last chance. Return to the organization. Chapter 940. Although she couldn't bear to part with senior brother, third senior sister, and her brothers, however, she was just a passerby to them. She would eventually have to return to her own path. I'm sorry, senior brother. I guess you know my current situation. I can't go back to my old life of fighting and killing. Most importantly, there are too few cute girls in the organization. I've wanted to complain many times, okay? Would it kill me to recruit more girls for the sake of employee benefits? Ningxi was furious when she said the last sentence. Tang Lang, Tang Yi. The men hadn't even complained and she was already filled with righteous indignation. What was she trying to do? Don't tell them that this was the reason why she left. Thinking back, she had indeed quarreled with Satan many times over this matter and was mercilessly rejected every time. In the end, the only girl, Annie, was rescued by Ningxi without permission and brought back to the organization. After she was brought back, Satan almost threw her into the sea. The two of them quarreled endlessly. Tang Yi pinched his brows and looked at Tang Lang. What about you? Tang Lang still had a cynical look on his face, but this time, his gaze was unprecedentedly resolute. Absolutely impossible. Tang Yi put on his glasses. I understand. He then looked up at Tang Lang again. The next person who comes won't be me. What he meant was that other than him, there would be someone else looking for Tang Lang. Actually, Ningxi had never officially acknowledged a master. After all, she was mainly proficient in firearms, and she was just dabbling in ancient martial arts. However, it was different for Tang Lang. He had been in the sect since he was young, and if he betrayed his master, he would really be kicked out of the sect. Tang Lang raised his eyebrows. Other than you, who am I afraid of? Tang Yi closed his eyes and said with a sharp gaze, what if master personally comes? Saving your life is more important. Stop fooling around. With Tang Lang's talent, as long as he was willing, it was only a matter of time before he surpassed Tang Yi and master. In the end, he didn't ask Tang Lang why he betrayed him. He was afraid that even he wouldn't be able to accept the reason. Tang Lang placed his fingers on his forehead and made a gesture of obedience. Of course, I still have to keep my life for you. Other than me, no one can satisfy you. Ningxi was still worried. In the end, she was caught off guard and was stuffed with a stomach full of dog food. She was in so much pain that she wanted to die and leaned against the wall. That's enough, you two. Tang Lang immediately put his hands on his waist and laughed out loud. This is retribution. Retribution. When I look at you and Lu Tingxiao, my eyes are almost blinded, okay? You're just jealous. Jealous that I'm no longer single. You've been single for 10,000 years. Fuck. Who's single? I still have little Ye. Tang Yi's eyes dimmed as he looked at the two arguing men. I'm leaving. Ningxi. So fast. I don't know when we'll meet again. We'll meet again soon. Tang Yi looked at her meaningfully, then turned around and left. Looking at eldest senior brother's back as he left, Ningxi felt a little sad. Then she scratched her head and said, we'll meet again soon. What does eldest senior brother mean? Tang Lang glanced at her. Tang Yi's return this time isn't a coincidence. I'm afraid they've already started to move to the country. Ningxi's expression changed slightly. What? You mean including Satan? He's also back in the country? It can't be. Tang Lang spread his hands. The facts are right in front of us. Ningxi. Is it too late for me to start practicing now? Chapter 941. Is it too late for me to start practicing now? Ningxi stared at Tang Lang with her starry eyes. Tang Lang patted her little head. Junior sister, do you think you're me? With your talent, even if you started practicing since you were in your mother's womb, it would still be too late. Ningxi's face instantly darkened. So what if you're talented? You're so talented, but you still can't beat eldest senior brother. You're still defeated by eldest senior brother every time. That's because I can't bear to win and let him win, Tang Lang said righteously. You're clearly in the terminal stage of laziness. What a waste of your talent, you scum. Ningxi had a look of disdain. Then she snorted and said, what's the big deal? I have someone to rely on anyway. Oh, no. She was too agitated tonight. She was flustered. She had to find Xiao Bao to heal her. Ningxi casually shoved the black bouquet in her arms to Tang Lang, then rode her motorcycle, roaring as it sped away. What's this? Tang Lang glanced at the black roses that Ningxi stuffed into his hand and then took out a pink note from the bouquet. Tang Lang glanced at the words on the note and then murmured, without you, I would be a soul without a purpose. Without you, my emotions would have no foundation. Without you, I would be an expressionless face. Without you, I would be a heart that has stopped beating. Without you, I would be a flame without heat. I am a stream that rushes towards you. Blue sea, are you willing to accept me? Graceful sea, the stream is waiting for your answer. Tang Lang held his chest as he read up to this point. He looked as if he was about to vomit blood from being poisoned. Holy shit. What the hell? He didn't even need to think to know who had sent this bouquet of flowers and who had written this poignant poem. No wonder junior sister was seduced by Lu Tingxiao in just a few days. She deserved it. Platinum Gold Palace. It was already late at night. Lu Tingxiao, who was in a light sleep, got up and went downstairs when he heard the combination lock and light footsteps. Then he unexpectedly saw Ningxi in the living room. Ningxi? It's so late, why are you? Before he finished speaking, Ningxi ran over and kissed him on her tiptoes. Lu Tingxiao had already fallen asleep just now. At this moment, he was wearing pajamas. In the middle of the night, he was suddenly kissed by his wife. Obviously, he didn't come back to his senses. However, instinct was enough. The man's arms subconsciously circled the girl's waist, his fingers caressing the girl's back, deepening the kiss. The night air gradually warmed up. The familiar scent made Ningxi calm down instantly. She looked up at the man and said, Sir Boss, please stay the night. Can I sleep with Xiao Bao baby tonight? I've already paid you. Lu Tingxiao looked down at the girl and said in a low voice, one kiss is enough. That's true. Xiao Bao is so cute. At least two. Ningxi decisively kissed him again. Lu Tingxiao smiled as he accepted the girl's payment. Why did you suddenly come here? I suddenly miss you and little treasure. Now. He wanted to hug Xiao Bao right now. I'm going up to take a shower and change my clothes. Ningxi said impatiently. Go ahead. Ningxi quickly ran past, bringing up a gust of wind behind her. A black flower petal floated down from the girl's body. Lu Tingxiao caught the black rose petal with his fingers and his eyes darkened. Chapter 942. After Ningxi took a shower and changed into her pajamas, She quietly went to sleep next to Xiaobao. She didn't know when it started. Lu Tingxiao and Xiaobao seemed to have become her source of security, proof that she was still living in the human world. As long as she saw them, she would have courage, motivation, passion, and peace of mind. Lu Tingxiao sat down on the bed and tucked the mother and son in. Then he looked down at the girl. What happened? Ning, she sat up slightly and leaned into Lu Tingxiao's arms. She thought for a moment and decided not to hide it from him. She explained, actually, I went to see someone tonight. I don't know if you still remember, but my senior apprentice brother, the man with glasses who took me away in Philadelphia last time. I remember. Lu Tingxiao nodded slightly, and a dark light flashed in his eyes. Well, it's him. He suddenly asked me to meet at the bar tonight. But don't worry, he didn't make things difficult for me. Last time, second senior apprentice brother beat him with a trick, so he fought with second senior apprentice brother and told him something about second senior apprentice brother leaving the sect. Anyway, senior apprentice brother doesn't mean us any harm, and he even secretly helped and reminded us. Ning, she explained. And then, I heard from second senior apprentice brother that they seem to be moving back to the country, including that person. Ning, she said hesitantly, and her expression changed slightly. Hearing the last three words, Lu Tingxiao subconsciously tightened his arms, and even the surrounding air pressure instantly dropped. After a long while, he said with a slightly dry voice, so, what do you think? Ning, she felt a little chilly. She stole a glance at Lu Tingxiao's seemingly gloomy face, not understanding why he suddenly seemed to be in a bad mood. What do I think? About that person, or about this matter? Anyway, I feel it's quite annoying. I don't want to have anything to do with them anymore. I just want to live my life peacefully, act in my shows, earn my money, and be with the person I love and cherish. Everything is fine. Hearing Ning Xi's words, Lu Tingxiao's stiff expression gradually softened. After all, he was the person she used to like. After all, she had rejected him so many times for that person. What he was most worried about was that the return of that person would shake her heart. Don't worry. With me around, no one can force you to do anything you don't want to do. Yes. That's why I'm here to hug your leg . Early in the morning, the sun shone through the window, warming the room. On the small bed opposite the window, Xiaobao woke up in a daze. He arched his little body and strangely felt that his side was warm, soft, and fragrant. Oh. The little fellow yawned delicately, then opened her eyes and turned her head subconsciously. As a result, she saw Aunt Xiaoxi lying beside her. Mama. Little Bun immediately widened his round eyes, as if he was a child who saw a room full of candy and toys. He didn't like candy or toys, but he liked Aunt Xiaoxi. Little Bun immediately got up from the bed and stared unblinkingly at Mama, who was sleeping soundly beside him. Then, he carefully stretched out a soft finger and poked Mama's face again and again. Soft. Very warm. Happy. Chapter 943. At this time, footsteps came from the door. Lu Tingxiao leaned against the door and looked at his son with a smile. I came over last night. You were asleep at that time. The little Bun puffed up his cheeks and complained, why didn't Papa wake him up? Then he could stay with Mama for a while longer. Oh. Baby, you're awake. Ning, she also woke up following her biological clock. Opening her eyes, Ning, she was in a good mood when she saw the soft little Bun. She held the little Bun in her arms and rolled on the bed. Oh, I don't want to get up, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to be separated from Xiaobao. Hugging the soft little Bun on a winter morning was really too much. Xiaobao also hugged Xiaoxi's mama. He didn't want to go to school, he didn't want to be separated from Xiaoxi's mama. Looking at the two who were lazing in bed, Lu Tingxiao shook his head helplessly. Should I ask for leave for you? Ning, she blinked her eyes and poked her head out from under the quilt. Forget it. Lu Tingxiao, how can you do this? Shouldn't you be teaching us like a dignified head of the family, telling us to study hard and work hard? Xiaobao nodded in agreement. That's right. Lu Tingxiao. Well, it was his fault. After the little Bun was fully charged, Ningxi was suddenly rejuvenated. She put all her unhappiness and worries behind her and devoted herself to work. Today, most of the scenes were with Shun Hanchen. One of them was a fight scene, so they needed to rehearse in advance. So when other scenes were shot, the two practiced next to each other. Shun Mion hired a coach to teach them martial arts. Shun Hanchen was in good spirits today, probably because he finally got to shoot a scene that he was definitely better at than Ningxi. As a result, half a day later, Ningxi was leaning on the recliner, drinking and enjoying the sunshine, surrounded by a group of girls and chatting, while Shun Hanchen was still sweating and fighting with the coach. Looking at Shun Hanchen's aggrieved look, Shun Mion patted him on the shoulder. "Young man, I forgot to tell you that Ningxi used to be a stunt double." Shun Hanchen, damn it, was this guy a monster? Was there nothing she wasn't good at? Qi Fang sneaked a glance at Ningxi and ran over to pass a bottle of water to Shun Hanchen. She clicked her tongue and said, "Was this guy originally a man, but he reincarnated into the wrong body? That's crazy." Shun Hanchen raised his head and drank more than half a bottle of water. His heart was incomparably sullen. It was fine if he really lost to a man, but losing to a woman was even more sullen, okay? He was a man, but he was inferior to a woman. Qi Fang knew that Shun Hanchen, like him, had been unhappy with Ningxi for a long time. He rolled his eyes and muttered, "No matter what, she is still a woman. I don't believe she has no flaws. I must find a way to stop her from acting tough. Then I'll see how she can be so arrogant." What do you think girls are afraid of? What kind of things will make them lose control and scream or even cry? Shun Hanchen glanced at Qi Fang. He definitely wouldn't do this kind of thing, but since Qi Fang was prepared to make a move, he was happy to see it happen. After all, he had endured enough. Shun Hanchen said casually, "A snake?" Chapter 944. Finally, after filming the fight scene with Shun Hanchen, Ningxi returned to her seat. As soon as she sat down, Ku Mingyu suddenly walked towards her. "What's up?" Seeing Ku Mingyu looking for her, Ningxi's expression was a bit strange. This guy never took the initiative to communicate with anyone on set. In order to avoid being affected by him again, she had been deliberately not paying attention to him today. "I want to rehearse with a senior," Ku Mingyu said. "Oh, okay." It was a very normal reason. Ningxi didn't think much of it and picked up the script. "Let me see, our scenes today are..." As Ningxi spoke, she suddenly felt a cold and slippery sensation on her wrist, which made her shiver. She turned her head subconsciously and saw that a small colorful snake had crawled onto her body. Before Ningxi could react, Xiao Dao, who was standing to the side, caught a glimpse of it from the corner of her eye. She let out a scream that almost broke her eardrums. "Ah! Why is there a snake? Brother Shi, don't move. Don't move. Ah! It's really a snake. It's disgusting. Is it poisonous? What should I do? Brother Shi, I'll go find someone to help you." Ji Yumeng was anxious and the other girls almost fainted. Ningxi was about to speak when her wrist was suddenly empty. In the next second, the snake was already in Ku Mingyu's hand. Ku Mingyu's fingers were pinching the snake's weak spot and he was about to pinch it to death with his bare hands. Ningxi suddenly shouted, Don't pinch it." Ku Mingyu looked over, puzzled. Ningxi glared at him and then reached out her hand. "Let go, give it to me, give it to her. Hurry up. It's almost scared to death, can't you see?" Ningxi sounded even more dissatisfied. Can't see. Seeing Ningxi's resentful expression and the fact that it was a non-poisonous snake, Ku Mingyu obediently handed the snake over. Ningxi took the small green snake and stroked its smooth skin comfortingly. "This is a non-poisonous snake, it won't hurt people, and it's a vegetarian. It's so cute, how could you do this to it?" Ku Mingyu was speechless. He wanted to be the hero who saved the damsel in distress. Why did he get scolded by his wife, Qi Fang and Shun Hanchen? Weren't they supposed to scream and cry? Why didn't they follow the script? Brother Shi, stop playing. Be careful, it might bite you." Xiao Dao was so scared that her body was trembling. "Don't worry, this snake is very obedient. Even if you bite it, it won't bite you. Do you want to touch it?" I think we woke him up from his hibernation. He's still a little confused. No, 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 no. There's no need. Little Peach shook her head like a rattle drum. In order to show that she was different and to impress her idol, Ji Yumeng plucked up her courage and stepped forward. Let me do it. After Ji Yumeng's introduction, the other girls saw that the snake was so docile in Ningxi's hands. After confirming that it really was a non-venomous snake, they all gathered around to listen to Ningxi's explanation of the difference between venomous and non-venomous snakes in Kopu. Qi Fang bit the pillow in her arms, tears streaming down her face. This guy isn't a woman or a man, he's a monster, a monster. Oh, I'm so angry. But what's wrong with Ku Mingyu? Why did he help that guy just now? Shouldn't we be on the same side? How could he help an outsider? Chapter 945. In order to ease everyone's panic, Ningxi let them play with the little snake for a while, and then she found a bush and released the little snake. After returning to her seat, Ningxi's eyes flickered. It was winter now, and the snake wouldn't run out of its own accord, unless, boys nowadays were getting more and more childish. However, Ku Mingyu's reaction just now surprised her. He caught the snake too fast, wasn't he? Even she didn't see it clearly. Seeing Ningxi staring at him, Ku Mingyu called out, "Senior?" Ningxi touched her chin and suddenly leaned close to him, almost touching his face. "You don't fall in love with me, do you?" The man was stunned for a second, and then his expression didn't change. "You think too much." Seeing this, Xiao Dao's face turned pale. "Brother Shi, what are you doing?" "You'll be seen." Ningxi straightened up and looked calm. "Why are you nervous?" "I'm acting with Ku Mingyu." "Ah. Yes, acting." Xiao Dao looked at the script and found that it was indeed a line in the play. "It turns out to be acting. It scared me." "Brother Shi, you acted well. Even the acting is so real." "Thank you, senior. I'm going to prepare," Ku Mingyu said, and then turned to leave, with a trace of imperceptible haste. Soon it was evening. Ningxi was concentrating on preparing for the next scene, when she heard the voice of the director's assistant. "Brother Shi, it seems, someone is visiting you." "Someone is visiting me again? Zhuangku or Jiang Mui?" Ningxi raised her head subconsciously. The next second, when she saw a cute little thing following the assistant, she put down the script and stood up, saying excitedly, "Xiaobao?" After seeing Memar, the little bun, who had been walking beside the assistant expressionlessly, immediately ran towards Ningxi with his short legs. "Brother Shi, is this child your relative? A girl brought him here just now and told me that he came to see you," the assistant said while looking at the little guy with starry eyes. It was the first time that she had seen such a beautiful child. A girl. It must be the little maid of the Lu family. It was impossible for WNWN to send Xiaobao over on her own, so it could only be Lu Tingxiao's orders. Lu Tingxiao probably saw that she was in a bad mood last night and specially asked someone to send Xiaobao over. As Ningxi thought about it, she happily picked up the little bun. After thinking for a while, she explained, "He's my best friend's child, my godson." She thought about it and decided that this identity was the most convenient and would not cause any misunderstandings. Fortunately, the crew members were relatively simple, and no one would recognize Xiao Bao. Even if Xiao Bao came to visit, it would not be a big deal. The carefree and uninhibited man was carrying a white and soft little bun in his arms. His expression was gentle like water, and the little bun was hugging the man's neck, full of love and attachment. This scene was simply as warm and beautiful as a painting. The assistant was stunned. "This child seems to be very close to you." "Yes, his parents are busy and he likes to stick to me. I won't cause trouble for everyone, right? He's very obedient and won't run around." Ningxi apologized. No. Besides, we only have one scene left." "It's no trouble," the assistant hurriedly said. "Hey, Ningxi, where did you kidnap this little boy?" Shun Mion came over from the side and looked at the little bun in Ningxi's arms with a surprised expression. Chapter 946. Director, he's my godson. Ningxi was speechless. Shun Mion stared at Xiao Bao's face, her eyes shining brighter and brighter. She exclaimed, "This kid has a great foundation. Are you interested in joining the entertainment industry?" Ningxi's mouth twitched. "He's only 5, okay? So what if he's 5? You have to be famous early. Give him to me, and I promise I'll make him famous." Shen Mion's eyes shone even brighter. His temperament, his eyes, his nose. "I promise he won't be disabled when he grows up." "No, thank you. Of course he wouldn't be disabled. Just look at his father." "Are you sure? Do you have his parents' contact information?" "I'll talk to them." Shen Mion didn't give up. "No need. I can make the decision. He still needs to go to school. Director, don't mislead him, okay? Hey, girl. So many people want to give me their children, but I don't accept them." Shen Mion followed them for a long time, but Ningxi rejected her heartlessly. She could only leave with a face full of pity. As soon as Shen Mion left, many people surrounded them. "Wow. This kid is so cute." "Yeah. Isn't he cute?" Ningxi looked proud. "He's so cute. No wonder Director Shen wants him. I want to hug him." Xiao Bao's eyes darted around. He looked at the elder sister and then at the elder brother. After hearing this, he immediately hugged Mama's neck tightly and buried his little head in Mama's shoulder like a groundhog. Ningxi patted Xiao Bao's back and chuckled. She apologized. "I'm sorry. He's a little shy and doesn't like to talk." "Oh, he's cute even if he's shy. He's so adorable. Actually, I don't want to have children anymore, but if my children could be as cute as him, I'd be willing." Ji Yumeng squatted there, holding her face. She was so cute that her heart almost melted. Looking at Ningxi, who was surrounded, Qi Fang's pillow was almost chewed to pieces. First it was Jiang Mui, then Zhuang Ku'er, and today, there was a cute little kid who came to visit. Who was this guy? Oh, my God. Why is he always in the limelight, trying to please the crowd? Shun Hanchen grunted coldly. Qi Fang immediately echoed, "That's right, that's right." Qi Fang glanced at Ku Mingyu, who was in the corner. He had originally wanted to pull Ku Mingyu to the same side, but since he had helped Ningxi once, Qi Fang had already decided to completely exclude him from the 3 swordsmen, even though he had never been one of them. Although Ningxi really wanted to play with the little bun for a while, the next scene was about to start, so she hurriedly kissed the little bun. "Mama is going to put on makeup and change clothes to prepare for work. Be good and wait for me here for a while, okay?" Little Bun nodded obediently as he carried a large pile of snacks given to him by the staff. "Xiaodao, please help me take care of him." "Okay, Brother Shi, go ahead." Xiaodao happily accepted the task. "Oh, I just feel that when elder brother Shi called himself Mom, his tone and expression were so gentle and gentle, just like this little guy's biological mother." Ningxi had just entered the dressing room. Little Baozi, who was sitting on the chair obediently waiting for her mother, suddenly stared in one direction without blinking. That was Ku Mingyu's direction. Little Baozi stared for a while, then lowered his eyes. Then, he raised his head and stared for a while longer. Then, as if he had encountered a difficult problem, he tilted his head. "Phut, Xiaobao, what are you looking at?" Xiao Dao looked at the little guy's cute little face, and her heart almost melted. Little Baozi blinked, then suddenly jumped off the chair and ran in Ku Mingyu's direction. Chapter 947. Xiao Bao ran to stand in front of Ku Mingyu and continued to stare at him without blinking. Ku Mingyu, very soon, just standing there and watching was no longer enough for him. Xiao Bao began to circle around Ku Mingyu, looking at him again and again. His expression was as if he was doing some important scientific research. Xiao Dao was confused and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She coughed lightly and said to Ku Mingyu, "I'm sorry, Mr. Ku, this child may like you and want to play with you." Ku Mingyu stretched out his long arm and helped Xiao Bao, who was almost tripping over a small stone. He looked like he was about to collapse. "It's okay." Not far away, Qi Fang was speechless. Indeed, birds of a feather flock together. Is this child's aesthetic as abnormal as that guy's? There are so many handsome men and beautiful women out there, but he just had to play with Ku Mingyu. Shun Hanchen only looked up and glanced at him, then continued to read his script uninterestedly. Qi Fang complained for a while, flipped through the script in boredom, and then muttered, "The next scene is between Ning Shi and Ku Mingyu. Oh, Ning Shi is dressed in women's clothes. It's been 2 days since she joined the crew, but I haven't seen Ning Shi dressed in women's clothes. TSK, it's hard to imagine. Xiao Dao, can you do me a favor? Give me Ning Shi's bag." Yi Qiu's voice came from the dressing room. Xiao Dao hurriedly replied, "Okay. Right away. Mr. Ku, can you please take a look at this child? I'll be right back." Seeing that Xiao Bao and Ku Mingyu were having a good time, Xiao Dao asked Ku Mingyu, "Okay." After Xiao Dao left, Xiao Bao was still wandering around Ku Mingyu. Ku Mingyu glanced in the direction of the dressing room. Ning Shi should be done with her makeup soon. If she saw Xiao Bao circling him like this, "Don't circle around me." Ku Mingyu touched his forehead and finally couldn't help saying. When Little Treasure heard this, he blinked a few times, and then stopped in front of Ku Mingyu. However, the pair of crystal-clear eyes never left his body. It was simply like a curious kitten staring at him. She even tentatively reached out her little hand towards his face. In this aspect, this child was surprisingly similar to Ning Shi. Even his reaction was exactly the same. Ku Mingyu's expression seemed to crack. He lowered his voice and said, "Go find your mother." Fortunately, at this time, Ning Shi came out of the dressing room with her makeup and clothes done. Xiao Bao immediately ran towards her. Ku Mingyu breathed a sigh of relief. Then, looking at the door of the dressing room, his eyes suddenly darkened. At this moment, Ning Shi was wearing a pink one-collared floral dress, revealing her beautiful collarbone, as well as the faintly discernible curve below. Her waterfall-like long black hair formed a soft and beautiful arc around her slender waist. Her beautiful eyes seemed to contain the stars in the sky. Her eyes were so beautiful that they seemed to be out of this world. Before, her skin color might have been deliberately darkened by the makeup artist. At this moment, after revealing her original skin color, it was dazzling white. She looked like she was sparkling as she walked. "Ah, oh my God. Is this our brother Shi? Sister Yi Qiu, did you learn some magical skill? You can transform into a living person." Chapter 948. What godly skill? Brother Shi is a god himself. I'm just adding flowers to the brocade. Yi Qiu looked at the girl in front of him and sighed. This girl was too malleable. "Senior, you're so beautiful." Ji Yumeng was mesmerized. Even a woman like her was about to fall for him. "Oh, as expected of Senior, you're so charming both in men's and women's clothes. I'm finished. I feel like I'm really going to turn gay if this goes on." The only one who remained calm was Xiao Dao, who had been by Ning Shi's side for a long time. "Mitch, you only know now that our brother Shi is even more beautiful in women's clothes. In fact, Gigi's biggest worry was that she was too beautiful." Gulp. The sound of Qi Fang swallowing could be heard in the noisy crowd. Ning Shi. The script in Shen Hanshen's hand had slipped to the ground. Hearing someone call her name, Ning Shi turned around with a smile. "Achem." Seeing the girl's bright smile, Shen Hanchen felt his blood flow backwards, as if he had lost control of his 5 senses. His heart raced uncontrollably, and a phrase flashed through his mind, "A smile back, 100 charms bloom, I'm fine." He thought that this woman was the same as the female celebrities he had seen before. Their images on TV were all photoshopped and filtered, and the real person was many times worse than them. There were even many people who looked no different from passers-by. This was the first time he had seen someone in real life who completely outshone photos and TV shows. After going through the images, not only did it not make her image more perfect, but it also limited her. He had already looked up her information and thought that he had figured her out, but it was only now that he truly got to know her. Swoosh. Qi Fang picked up his coat and ran over like an arrow leaving the bow. His eyes lit up and he said in a loud and clear voice, "Senior, it's cold. We haven't started filming yet, put on a jacket first." "Fuck. Qi Fang, you're too good at taking advantage of others." "That's right. You're too fast." Ha ha ha, this guy, while everyone's attention was on Ning Shi, in the corner, Ku Mingyu expressionlessly stuffed a blanket into Little Bun's arms. "You know what to do." This time, he used his own voice. Originally, he only sent his son over to make her happy because he felt sorry for his wife. In the end, he didn't expect that after he finally got over his wife, he would fall into the hands of his own son. Rather than letting Xiaobao keep circling him curiously and arousing Ningxi's suspicion, it was better to directly fight for an alliance. Little Baozi looked at his mama, who was surrounded by the crowd, and immediately threw all his curiosity and his father to the back of his mind. He decisively picked up the blanket and ran over. Before Ningxi could speak to Qi Fang, a soft and adorable little bun suddenly ran over with a blanket in his arms. He raised his little head and held it in front of her. Ningxi instantly turned to look at little Baozi. She was extremely touched. "Oh, for Mema? Thank you, my precious godson." Qi Fang, who was left to the side, was like a puppy that couldn't please its master, and his face was full of disappointment. Ningxi put on the blanket sent by Xiaobao and said to Qi Fang, "Thank you. I have a blanket. Wear it yourself. Don't catch a cold." Qi Fang was instantly filled with warmth. "Thank you for your concern, senior." Chapter 949. Not far away, Shen Hanchen was completely speechless with an expression of "what the fuck? Who is this guy? Do I know him? Who was the one who kept muttering in his ear? Who was the one who kept saying this guy? And who even went to release the snakes? Did Qi Fang lose his memory?" After he was done, Qi Fang ran back happily and said in an intoxicated tone, "I've decided. From now on, I'm Senior's fan. Lifelong fan. Hey, was there something wrong with my brain before? I've been jealous of and embarrassed a girl. I'm not a man at all. I didn't expect that Ku Mingyu was the most scheming one. From the beginning, he went to please Senior and asked her for an autograph. Just now, he even saved the damsel in distress. What a mistake, a mistake." As Qi Fang spoke, he slapped himself in annoyance. Then, he held his face and stared at Ningxi with an infatuated expression. "Oh, she's so beautiful. How can there be such a beautiful girl? Han Chen, I'm so envious of you. You can be the male lead. Shen Han Chen, can't you at least have a little buffer when you change your attitude? This change of allegiance was too fast. Where's your integrity, bro? Forget it. Why did you still complain about Qi Fang?" Even I, Shen Hanchen, picked up the script that had fallen to the ground and subconsciously pressed his heart that was still beating at an abnormal speed. How could this be? He had never felt like this before. He thought highly of himself and looked down on any woman in the entertainment circle. How could it be now? Not bad, not bad. She's even more beautiful than last time. Shen Mion looked at Ningxi and expressed his satisfaction. He really didn't know what to pick on this treasure that he had accidentally dug up. Last time, when she played the cameo role of First Love, she didn't put on any face at all. At that time, she was already stunning. Now that she had put on youthful and bright makeup, it completely matched and even exceeded the image of Ji Feishue in women's clothing in his mind. "Come here, Ningxi, and Ku, come here." Shen Mion called Ningxi and Ku Mingyu over and told them about the play. "You cooperated so well yesterday, so this play should not be too difficult for you too. You can act normally later. Ningxi, there is something you should pay attention to later." Ningxi stood in front of the director, holding Xiao Baozi's hand, and listened to the director seriously. Ku Mingyu stood next to Xiao Baozi. This time, the little guy finally stopped staring at him. Once she was done, Shen Mion clapped her hands. "All right, everyone, take your places. Let's begin the last scene of the day. When you're done, you can pack up and go home." The scene was about the female lead accidentally meeting the second male lead in female clothing. The acting skills of the two actors were up to standard, and they passed the scene very quickly. The staff all revealed happy expressions. After all, it was so easy to meet such reliable actors. After work, at a fork in the road, the man was walking in a hurry. When he was about to turn a corner, someone suddenly stopped him from the opposite side, President Liu. Ningxi seemed to have been waiting for him for a long time. She took a step forward and directly stood in front of the man. Then she said those 4 words. Senior. Ku Mingyu was startled and looked surprised. Ning, she immediately flared up. Nonsense. Lu Tingxiao. You're still pretending. Xiao Baozi just circled around you 23 times. Do you think I'm blind? Ku Mingyu, he had been hoping for a fluke, but in the end, he was still seen. Sigh, it was really a trap, but Lu Tingxiao felt that he might still be able to save himself. I don't know what you mean, Senior. You seem to think I'm someone else. The man's face was 30% surprised and 70% puzzled, completely behaving like a stranger. Ning, she frowned slightly. You are really not Lu Tingxiao? Ku Mingyu said, no. Ning, she nodded. Oh, no. All right then. In that case, I'll change the way I ask. As soon as she finished speaking, Ku Mingyu's eyebrows twitched. For some reason, he had a bad feeling. However, after a short pause, Ning, she looked at him leisurely and continued to ask, Sir, are you really not my husband? Chapter 950. Ku Mingyu. Lu Tingxiao had never expected Ning Shi to be so ruthless. How could he say no to this question? Seeing the man pursing his lips and standing there for a long time without saying a word, Ning Shi shrugged and turned to leave. She waved her hand and said, All right, it seems that I was wrong. How could you be my darling? The next second, Ning Shi's wrist was suddenly tightened and a strong force pulled her into a warm embrace. Her body was locked tightly by a pair of arms and the man's low, hoarse voice that sounded like a cello came into her ears. That voice was repressed and helpless, and it was almost as if he had gritted his teeth and said, I am. With that said, he bent down and kissed the girl's lips hard. In the dim alley, the girl was pinned against the wall behind her by the waist, and she was kissing her forcefully. The cool evening air seemed to be on fire at this moment. It hurts. Ning, she felt that her tongue was going numb and her lips were stinging. She couldn't help but complain softly. The man kissed her even more passionately. His tone was extremely helpless and doting, as if he wanted to rub the person in his arms into his bones. He gritted his teeth and said, Little rascal. Not to be outdone, Ning, she bit the man's thin lips and said, You're the rascal. If it wasn't for the little treasure card looking for its daddy, how long were you going to hide it from me? The little treasure card looking for its daddy. Okay, that was a good description, Lu Tingxiao said, always. If she hadn't found out, he was actually going to hide it from her. Ning, she was about to explode when she heard that. Then why did you admit it just now? You could have denied it to the end. I don't have any solid evidence to expose you anyway. Lu Tingxiao sighed softly. You know very well that even if the sky falls, I can't deny it. Humph. Ning, she snorted smugly, looking as if she was relying on the fact that he didn't dare to deny it. Lu Tingxiao loved this side of her the most. His eyes deepened and he was about to kiss her again. Ning, she pushed him away impatiently. I'm talking business with you. I'm asking you because there are dangerous scenes in this movie. Are you worried? She recalled that Lu Tingxiao had already asked Xiongji to protect her. In the end, she almost got into danger in Philadelphia. Based on Lu Tingxiao's personality, he wouldn't trust anyone else, let alone Xiongji. Was that why he didn't hesitate to come personally? As far as she knew, this kind of ultra-precise human skin mask was not only extremely difficult to make, but it was also very harmful to the skin and the human body. People would feel very uncomfortable wearing it for more than 10 minutes, not to mention wearing it for such a long time. Thinking of this, Ning Shi's heart softened. That is part of the reason. Lu Tingxiao didn't deny it. Then, he looked at her and continued, the other reason is because of my selfishness. Both of us are very busy with our work, and our relationship can't be made public, so the time we can spend together is too little. I missed you so much. I'm sorry. The last anger in Ning Shi's heart also disappeared. Also, by experiencing this personally, I can get to know you better and have more common topics with you. That way, you might not think that I'm too boring. How could that be? You're not boring at all. I love Boss the most. I love you the most. Ning Shi's dissatisfaction had completely turned into heartache and gratitude. She hugged the man's neck and took the initiative to kiss him to comfort him. Chapter 951. Surviving a disaster, Lu Tingxiao leaned over and kissed the girl. His heart, which had been hanging in the air, finally came back to his body. She tilted her head and looked at him in surprise. Lu Tingxiao, I never knew that you were so good at acting. You almost robbed me of my job. I have a good teacher to thank. Lu Tingxiao said. Ah, you have a teacher. Who? Why didn't I know? She asked curiously. You. Me. I've read all the books and notes you put in my room. Lu Tingxiao replied. Hearing this, she didn't know what to say. From customizing a mask to learning acting skills, it would take at least several months to prepare so much. Lu Tingxiao might have been doing these things since they came back from Feiqing last time. She was fully aware of how busy he usually was, and the cases he handled were all big cases worth hundreds of millions, but he still had so much time to do such insignificant things, just to be able to spend more time with her, but he was afraid that she would be angry, so he painstakingly hid it from her. Her profession was generally disapproved by the so-called aristocratic circle, but he was willing to accompany her, understand her, and protect her. No one has ever been so nice to me. She hugged the man in front of her. Oh, I'm so touched that I want to marry you immediately. What should I do? Now the Civil Affairs Bureau is off duty, but I can call them to come back, or ask them to come home with equipment. The man spoke quickly and his dark eyes lit up. Phut, stop it. She laughed. Lu Tingxiao sighed and put his chin on the girl's shoulder. Ningxi, we haven't been dating for long. Although it's abrupt to ask this, it's true that I think about it every minute and every second of every day. When can you marry me? She looked at him quietly. Her eyes seemed to be filled with light that broke through the darkness before dawn. She said solemnly, when I can stand shoulder to shoulder with you. In the car. She was driving in the front. Lu Tingxiao and Xiao Bao were sitting in the back seat. The disguise on Lu Tingxiao's face had not been removed yet. He was still in the image of Ku Mingyu. The little fellow stared at him for a long time. Her curiosity got the upper hand, and she decisively reached out her little hand. This time, Lu Tingxiao had no choice but to cooperate. He leaned over and let him touch. Little Bun touched it again and again. He was very curious about the unknown. She looked at the father and son in the rearview mirror and clicked her tongue. Lu Tingxiao, do you think Xiao Bao has a special ability? No matter what we do, he can still recognize us. Lu Tingxiao pondered for a moment and was not surprised. He had already discovered that his son had such an ability before. Some people had their own unique way of observing that was different from ordinary people. They could discover things that ordinary people couldn't. It's hard to explain. It's probably similar to a dog's sense of smell. It's an observation method that can see through the essence. Damn, how can you compare our son to a dog? Oh right, there's another question that I wanted to ask. Why don't you get a more handsome face? I heard from the director that you wanted to play the male lead, but you became the supporting actor because your image didn't match. She asked curiously. Lu Tingxiao said, because I'm handsome enough. Shi. Chapter 952. Hearing this answer, Shi's mouth twitched and she was speechless. But later she found out that the real reason had something to do with Lu Tingxiao's good looks. After countless experiments and failures, only Ku Mingyu's face was the most natural. Well, there was no room for handsomeness. Shi was in men's clothes and Lu Tingxiao was in Ku Mingyu's appearance. Before the show, no one would recognize them. Thus, he brought Xiao Bao along to go to the supermarket openly, which was a rare occasion. Honey, let's have hot pot tonight. Dao brought me some hot pot base from her hometown. Shi asked. Lu Tingxiao said, okay. Xiao Bao nodded. The three of them went to the vegetable and fresh food section to choose ingredients. However, as they walked, they realized that more and more eyes seemed to be looking in their direction. What was wrong? Shi was confused. Is this a family of three? What a loving couple. But I think the handsome guy next to him is too ordinary. He doesn't deserve his brother. Damn, what do you know? This is called a gentle wife. It's the best match for this kind of hoodlum. What's a good match? Lu Tingxiao suddenly turned to Ningxi and asked. Ningxi almost spat blood. You don't need to know that. But she was so happy. The devil was a good match and she was a good match. Ha ha ha. Ningxi didn't expect that two men would attract more attention when they went to the supermarket. So she hurriedly bought the ingredients and went back to the apartment. Back home, Lu Tingxiao used a special medicine to remove the mask on his face. Ningxi looked at his slightly red face and touched it, feeling sorry for him. It's okay. I'll be fine in a while. Besides, I'm a man. Lu Tingxiao comforted her. No, a man's face is also important. Besides, it's about my welfare. Come here. Ningxi pulled Lu Tingxiao to her dressing table and opened her bottles. Don't move. I'll give you a full set of skincare product. Since his wife wanted to serve him, Lu Tingxiao obediently sat down. Essence, water, lotion. Ningxi looked serious as she meticulously smeared the cream on Lu Tingxiao's face. Wait, there's more cream. In the future, you have to wipe your face after washing it every day. Just as she was wiping Lu Tingxiao's face, Little Bun ran over and pointed at her own face, indicating that she wanted it too. Ningxi chuckled. Your father needs it because he's not handsome enough. You're already handsome enough, so you don't have to apply it. Little Bun nodded and decisively accepted this explanation. After the family of three finished dinner, Lu Tingxiao went into the study because he had urgent business to deal with, while Little Bun was urged to take a shower by Ningxi. Baby, do you need Mama's help? Little Bun shook her head shyly and indicated that she could. Ningxi smiled and rubbed Little Bun's head. Aya, my bun has grown up. Then slow down, be careful not to slip. After helping Little Bun fill the tub with water, Ningxi sat on the sofa in the living room with a blanket covering her body. She put on an old but classic foreign language musical to watch. The gentle music flowed in the night air, and the room was quiet. At this time, the doorbell suddenly rang. Who could it be so late at night? Little Bun and Lu Tingxiao were both here. Ningxi looked out through the peephole nervously. After seeing clearly who it was, she immediately opened the door with an incredulous expression. As soon as the door was opened, the girl at the door jumped up and threw herself at Ningxi. Brother Shi, you're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.